time to get mean, I'm a lean revolution machine. Won't want people stay, they sway. Want today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly this, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises over the top. Don't cross the line, but you know it's right. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
Welcome to the Sativa Cross podcast, opening day. Here with Jim Miller. Here with Leo. And we don't have our theme song because I screwed up. Because it's spring training. Where's my theme song? Where's your microphone?
I don't know.
It's your microphone.
Testing. There.
Oh, don't you dare start that now.
Turn it down. Turn it down. 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 I owed you that one.
Oh, you did not.
I did owe you that one. You
Testing.
got my microphone off.
1, 2, 3. Testing.
No, I opted for that other than the tap.
Hot. There we go. Ooh.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah.
Now go ahead and tap your microphone. See if it's working.
Don't.
Okay, I won't do it.
This way we're on from the beginning.
Today's the first day.
So how was it last week? What happened?
Last week
that's right. We weren't here.
Yeah, it was a rain out last week.
You know, it was
Good call.
As well, you know, it's really on top of that call is the fact that the phrase "you got to know when to come in out of the rain." They use that as an example for the phrase. Out of all the sensible things that are obvious to people, they made that the saying. Whoever they are, made it the saying. So you know, you didn't want to look like a bunch of potheads coming out in a rainstorm having a party.
Right.
Because it's serious,
right,
you know.
Right. Remember when we talked about optics?
And I didn't feel perfect as well. And, you know, you're right. Appearance is as important or more important than reality. We're lucky that reality is on our side.
Right.
So we don't have to play with that.
Right.
But we come in today with no game plan for the day because just so many things have happened in 17 months. I like the idea that we're just going to go over things pertinent to New Jersey especially. That have happened in the last 17 weeks that are new, directions we think we'd like to be involved in, and see if we can see what comes to the top this year. Last year it was post-traumatic stress being added to the, we started with that front and center, and it took most of the year to get it done.
We started in, I came in in April.
Yeah. Well, that's when we started,
April, and then by September, it was being signed.
Yeah, so
and if you look at
that
the
only
number
left a month and a half, so we moved on to trying to get things done for Laura and Jenny so that she doesn't have to go to school to give her daughter a sip of liquid.
Yeah, now we want nurses to be able to administer.
The third-party
the-
caregiver.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there are bills in committee about that. And you would think it would move quicker than it has, and I'll tell you why. They didn't foresee this somehow when they passed the bill to allow Jenny, Laura's daughter, to have her state-sanctioned medicine on school grounds. New Jersey was the first state, I believe, to pass a law to allow a Schedule I substance on school grounds.
Right.
The first, like we were some sort of innovators, but with being that innovative, what we didn't do was realize that Jenny's mom, Laura, would have to come to school
Yeah, she got to leave.
every day to give it, because only the parents or legal guardians of a child can be
administer,
the caregiver, which would be her and her husband, Roger. Unfortunately, of course, Roger died,
Right.
leaving Jenny the only one to do this. She's overstressed, she's overworked,
Right.
she doesn't need to be having to decide, does Jenny get an education today? Does Jenny, she's autistic and epileptic. Education is loosely defined in this case, but this is where she does well in school, especially when she has her medicine. So a persistent lefty called Senator Cruz Perez 5 times in a row, and from our good friend Bill Crusoe found out, somewhat scared the staff, But to their benefit, every time he said you're on the air, they didn't say don't put it on the air. They talked, but she did. There was certain ways probably of getting things done that we don't understand, not being legislators. I'm not acquiescing to the way they say it needs to be done necessarily, but point is that maybe it was Nick Scutari that Senator Cruz Perez thought would normally offer a companion bill to something medical marijuana in the assembly, because that's the way it's always been. But he wasn't doing it, so Lefty was called, and he did great talking to her. I mean,
Right. I actually I saw it. When Lefty makes a phone call, right? Like Lefty's voice,
he can hear you.
can completely.
I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm talking like he's not here. This is Lefty. This is my imitation of Lefty. Hello, you're on the air. I'd like to speak with. And you're like, wait, hold on, what? Lefty, what happened to the? Where's
We
the
got
fire?
some-
You son of a-
Yeah.
Oh, hi, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
How are
Hi.
you?
Yes. Well,
Picked
I'm
up my-
calling to find out. Such and such, and it's just like.
Yeah, or
really?
his alternate method when he's not sure if they're going to give permission. You're on the air.
What did you say? I'm on the. What does that mean? I'm on the air.
No, it's
I got that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, hi, my name is Lefty. You're on the air, and we.
Yeah, you're on the air. Yeah. Look, man. But when you look at from the week before Thanksgiving to now,
What's happening?
everything that has transpired.
19 weeks.
Yeah, and mind you, before we left, I kept saying, "Oh no, Donald's not going to get in." They gave away the, and then look what happened. Lo and behold, and we're in what, day 83?
Not even 100 days yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you one thing about that, and it's fun. I'll make it have something to do with medical marijuana later. I've never seen a presidency or anybody or anything counted upward. We have the election in 83 days, 82 days, 81 days, 80 days. What do you what do you ever count up into the 80s? After the first 3 or first month, there's a 100-day mark for a reason. They want you to assess things at 100 days.
And normally, when that 100-day mark comes, you don't
we know
realize
that it's 17 days until the 100-day mark. I mean, why should we know that? Because the wheels are wobbling so quick, and stuff's flying off the bus, and you can't keep up.
My man, fresh out the gate, messed up. So
Yeah.
our
Well,
entire
anyway.
executive branch of government is under investigation.
So anyway,
That
though,
tells you
we're
something.
going to keep it well into state ballpark today for those 17 weeks of what happened. We'll be discussing
I had an
things that are of life and death importance, that are in flux, that are moving, that are happening. We got to decide, okay, where do we go first? Where do we push? What's pushable most now?
Well, I've had an opportunity to speak to
Laura's bill, we call it. That's something that's always going to be right at the top.
Yep, and I had an opportunity to talk to Phil Murphy, Democratic.
Good for you.
Democratic candidate for governor.
We hope to have him on the show.
Yeah,
Would you have a rapport with him now? Please say yes. Even if you don't, say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually talked to his campaign manager,
Nice.
Jenny, and emailed back and forth a couple of times because, I do believe that what we are doing as a state is, yes, we're picking a new governor, but we're also recovering from 8 years of Chris Christie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
big
work
directional
and so
movement.
when you have this kind of a turnover,
Listen to that.
a statesman is what's needed, because Chris Christie he's done some wild things and is doing some wild things.
We're on a windstorm, by the way.
Yes.
We might not come out in the rain, but we don't care how windy it is. We will.
So when you look at the fact that
we don't care.
Cannabis is a Schedule 1, it's still a Schedule 1
that
drug.
has always been the problem.
Yeah, and it's oxymoronic that you have a Schedule 1 drug.
I'd say hi, Stephen. I say hi, Stephen, but I'm not allowed to look towards you.
But you're not allowed.
Plausible deniability, man. You ruin it for me.
A Schedule 1
now
drug.
I gotta look over here.
I didn't take it. He offered it, and I didn't.
Stephen, look at me. I'm laughing. I'm just saying I'm not looking at you.
I'm just me neither.
No, you know how it goes, man. What am I gonna say? He's one of my oldest advocate friends in Trenton. He got on the bus right in the beginning wave. He made sure Crohn's disease was.
Yeah, he's the reason why. Yeah.
So for all that, he gets me to look away.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he gave me a guitar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But going to what you were saying about cannabis and it being a Schedule 1 drug.
He's getting me back to cannabis. This is my job.
Back to cannabis.
Yeah. That is the crux of all the things that can't happen.
No, it's oxymoronic. Schedule 1 drugs don't have any medicinal value, but yet we have a New Jersey medical marijuana program.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, a lot of it doesn't.
So based on my conversations, with people like Phil Murphy and so on, I will say that if you are going to be the governor of New Jersey, whether it's Democrat or Republican, you cannot be governor of New Jersey not wanting to go recreational with it, because that's where.
Well, Phil Murphy, he's looked at other states that are doing it, and his figure is $300 million. That he would like to pencil into the budget, and he has gone so far as to say he would like a bill for him to sign in time. To be able to consider that in the budget, which will be due at the end of June 2018.
That's what he told me. He said by June. He's hoping that something, if he becomes governor, he's looking for hoping that something to be on his desk by June. And I'm like, okay.
Well, this is we'd like him to understand, as I'm sure he will, that if he is of this mind that this podcast is exactly where he would want to express his opinion, because we are going to be getting opinions of all the candidates we can. We would like to hope to get candidates to show up for a discussion on a roundtable on their medical marijuana and legalization opinions. And when somebody like Joe Rullo will show up, if nobody else does, he's got the floor. So but we have to be the kind of have the presentation that will allow them to do that. And we are. It's been me. I've just had actually a lot of other stuff to do that I've been lagging behind in getting a promo thing made, so that when we invite somebody.
Is that what
on,
you asked about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Scott offered to do it, and I segmented some stuff, and I got not like me. I lost it. I know. I never lose anything, right?
Joe.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh wait, no, that's somebody else. I'm the one that does regularly. Yes. So, but we're ready for legislators to start more coming on the show this year. Reed Gusior has always been great about showing up.
Yes, he has.
Tim Eustace, Assemblyman Eustace, has been also great about coming on the show, and he bought a T-shirt from Lefty.
It was great.
Lefty offered to give it to him, and he explained you can't take a gift. And then and Lefty said $10. He goes, well, I'd have to pay full price, but he did pay $10.
He did.
Okay.
Lefty assured him with a wink, that's my full price. So Anyway, listen, there's so much to talk about.
Maurice, I'll catch up with you later.
With what's going on. That, we could pick one, what do you want to talk about? And get right to the meat of it immediately. So, Leo, go first. Medical marijuana, New Jersey. Tell me something that's you've come to mind since I've seen you.
Since September to now, I think we've had somewhere around 2,000 people sign on to the New Jersey medical marijuana program for PTSD.
It's just for that alone.
Yep, just for PTSD.
How's that? It's like I just got such a nice, warm feeling when you said that, because as much as I already know that, to hear 2,000 people with PTSD, and here's the thing: when we did this, we veterans lead the way. They opened the door for everybody with PTSD, and we had to tell people about that. And many people had their feelings hurt, saying, "What about me? What about me?" And the fact is we try to tell them that you ask a lot of veterans, okay, here's somebody with post-traumatic stress, and tell them why. And they'd think, I would never change positions with that. And but right now, out of those 2,000, we don't know how many are veterans and how many are
not. And that's interesting you say that,
majority
because
are civilians.
Let me tell you what I've also found out, that a lot of people think that PTSD is only a veteran thing. They think that's it. They think it's PTSD is just limited to veterans and veterans only. In particular, when you think about that number, that 2,000 more people, for me, on the local level, there are nobody in the city of Trenton has enrolled into the state's medical marijuana program for PTSD, although over 60% of the city suffers from PTSD.
Be interesting to do some outreach.
So,
what's the
which
plan?
is what I've been doing in as far as talking with folks and helping them to understand post-traumatic stress disorder. You do not need to go to go to war to get it. You could literally walk from you can walk 2 blocks away from here, and you'll have PTSD by the time you get back. That's the way things work.
On any given day at a certain time, that is entirely possible within the entire city of Trenton. Mostly 2 blocks that way, not so much here.
Yeah, and 2 blocks in a couple different.
The reasons are stark. But I like to use an example of a friend of mine, and we won't say who. I mean, we could. I do often, but found her mother hanging, and wasn't strong enough to get
to
her
lift her
down.
up. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, right. So how do you ever not have stress about that for the rest of your life? And there is just home invasions where it goes really, really wrong.
Yep.
It's the survivors.
Hey, what about when your house gets raided by the police? That's PTSD.
You get dragged off an airplane and get PTSD.
Yeah. Again, one of the things that I find myself doing
is having to smoked pot, by the way. That's why I can say it on the show.
Well, he's a doctor too. But the thing is that I find myself in a position where not only am I having to educate about the New Jersey medical marijuana program, but I'm also having to educate people on PTSD and having them to understand that, this is one of those things where it's not just a veteran thing. This is one of those things where veterans and civilians are aligned in a common problem.
I agree.
It's just that the way we got it.
Well, I agree, and we get to show that and make sure that people who are not veterans understand this applies to them if they have post-traumatic stress, and let them know that it won't be resistance to them getting in the program if there's any way they can navigate the roadblocks that are in the way. Lefty, what do you got? What do you want to talk about? We're doing what do you call it? Like that? The 2-minute thing, the sports discussion. I've always liked that. Yeah.
Well,
roughly.
There was an award that we won as a group. Sativa Cross won the award.
Who was that from?
The Jam Awards.
I know this, but
it was a statewide award
given by
the Jam. What the hell's it called?
Jam Video Festival.
Yeah, there's another group that does it. But yeah, it was like, was it done as part of a school thing? Yeah. Yeah, all the oh, we got a phone call coming in. I guess we could take it. But we were trying to get Anthony's weed back. We got hold on. Let's see who this is. You're on the air with Sativa Cross. You're on the air. Yes, you're on the air.
What's up, Lef?
Anthony.
Yes, sir. How's everybody and everything?
Hey, congratulations on getting your case dismissed. They were trying to get you a distribution of your medical cannabis, and it was really sad what they were doing to you.
Yeah, that was pretty awful, but thank you for all your help.
Lefty,
Thank everybody
Lefty,
for all
give a better short version for
Man.
somebody who might not know. This is that, and congrats, brother. You know,
All right.
getting it back.
Anthony was driving while black through Haddon Heights.
Okay.
Pulled over by a racist policeman,
Yeah.
and the cop said that you had a taillight out, which you didn't, and he pulled you out of the car. You have a cane, and you have a hard time walking. He made you come out of the car, and he basically put you in handcuffs, chained you to a wall for 5 hours like a friggin' animal, and all the time that you're legal to have all this, but this racist cop did all this to you.
Did he know that Anthony's legal? Anthony, did you
Yes.
say I'm a patient? I'm a legal patient. I'm assuming you did.
Oh yeah. I said all that.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So at that point, there should be procedures in place at every police station in the state on what to do. And as Lefty has proven over 60 times out to police stations, and you are the result of that this is not the way it is. It gets told generally, it's let the courts sort it out. Would you agree that that is pretty much the way things work out for people, especially if you're a patient of color, I understand?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's exactly what they said to me. I mean, I have it. It's all been filmed. I went live when they arrested me, when they decided they were going to violate my rights anyway. So I decided to go live on Facebook. But yeah, it's recorded. It's recorded. The officer asked me what was my qualifying condition for my marijuana card and all that stuff. Yeah, he was pretty much wrong from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
hope he learns from this.
this is also going to be an example that will be brought to the attention of the current Attorney General because we're really about ready to present this. We've had 3 Attorney Generals before this one, well, 2 and 1 acting Attorney General on the job since there were regulations in place. So it was up to them, a succession of failures, to make sure that this was understood by police all over the state, what to do. And the fact that Lefty's been doing this relentlessly for 4 years now? 3 years? 3.5, 4 years?
Almost 4 years.
Yeah. You know, it really tells the story, but your story is like, should have been prevented. It was preventable. There's no continuing education for police about this new law. I mean, a Schedule I substance is legal in New Jersey for people who have the proper identification. So let it be of some consolation to you that your example is such a perfect example, and that you can't really argue with the fact that this happens, you know, historically and in New Jersey more often to somebody, a person of color, than a white person, a Caucasian. So, and that just is. I mean, and if I'm wrong and somebody comes up with a statistic to counter it, then I will say I'm wrong, but nobody's going to, so I'm right.
So we're going to call the police department and try to get your cannabis back from the property police, wherever they are. So this should be fun. So tune in and listen to us try to get your cannabis back.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to do this. How much cannabis do they have of yours? About an ounce? Half ounce?
Yeah, it was about an ounce. They took my rolling papers. They also took $1,100 in cash from me.
Whoa, they took your money. Hold on a
No
minute.
battery.
We got to get your money back from the cops, too.
Yeah, they took
Oh.
my vaporizer. They took some of the extract that I pressed at home from me. So they took a bunch of stuff. They took 6 homemade chocolate bars that I made myself for my medicine to help me sleep at night and get rid of the pain somewhat. I mean, they took a bunch of stuff from me. They took a whole bag full of stuff, and they presumed I was this big drug dealer when, in fact, I go and I help patients. I teach them how to cook and things like that as much as I can. People who can't get out of bed. And I was basically prosecuted for it. Fortunately, they dismissed it, but, I mean, that cop basically went the extra mile.
Well, that's like I said, this will actually specifically brought to the current Attorney General Hoffman, I think is his name now. When we take care of this, because like otherwise, Lefty has to keep doing this for another. I figure it to be between 8.5 and 10 years to get to all the police stations, and that's just not fair. Plus, seriously, what do you think, Anthony? If you were the Attorney General and somebody like Lefty was doing your job and making you look bad,
better.
No offense, Lefty. It's just that you are who you are, and you're the one taking the initiative and making sure that you're cleaning up their mess or lack thereof attention.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry the way things worked out originally, but you know, justice had to prevail. But it's not over yet if you still have money and medicine outstanding.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Lefty will make the calls about that. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Anytime, man. We're glad we can help you.
Yeah, thanks for hanging in there too, man. Your persistence is admirable.
Let me ask you a question. Who's the bigger douche, the cop that arrested you or the prosecutor?
Oh, I can't.
Dead heat.
Come on, man. You got to know. Come on. Come on, Anthony. You're better than that, Anthony.
No,
Anthony.
No, it could have been a dead heat. No, could you know, really, if they come across at the same time, you know, hand in hand. I've seen them do it. You know, people try to do that. But you're right. Somebody always comes in first anyway.
We got Joe Rullo calling in at 8:50. 11:50. Joe Rullo calling in.
What time is it now?
We got 9 minutes.
9.
Thank you for calling the Borough of Haddon Heights Administrative Offices. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911.
This is fun.
If you know your party's extension, please dial it now.
No, this will be good. This will be good.
If you are calling for the municipal court, please press 3 now. For a complete listing of all borough departments, please press 1. To reach the borough clerk, please dial extension 30. To reach the deputy borough clerk, dial extension 31. For the tax collector, dial 32. For the tax assessor's office and for the registrar's
you know what? This
office.
is not the number I want. I want the police. We want 856-547-2222.
And this is what Haddon
Heights Police. We're going to call the property officer.
Were they in the Patty Duke song, Haddon Heights? No, that was something else. Go ahead. You have to be old to have any idea what I was just talking about. I mean, old.
Police Fire EMS, Dispatch 357. How can I help you?
Hi, good morning. You're on the air. This is Lefty Grimes. I'm calling because we have a patient here, a medical cannabis patient, who had his medicine confiscated by your police department. His case was dismissed, and we'd like to see if we can come pick up his cannabis. It's about an ounce of cannabis and about $1,100. Can we come pick that up today?
What township?
Haddon Heights.
I'll give you the inside phone number for their police department. This is a central dispatching area.
Okay, thank you. Somebody write this number down. Hey, I got a number coming. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
856.
856.
547.
547.
0614.
0614. Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry to bother you.
No problem.
0614. All right, that was 856. 547 0614. All right. All right. The carousel of cops. It's the carousel of cops. Please hold. Hold on. I'll transfer you. Hold on. The carousel of cops. We're calling to get Anthony's cannabis back. They have an ounce of his cannabis. His case was dismissed.
At Haddon Heights, right?
Yeah, so they have to give his cannabis back and $1,100.
And what's their holdup?
You have reached the Haddon Heights Police Department. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911.
Well, yeah, it is.
If you know your party's extension, please dial it now. For a complete list of borough departments, please press 1. To reach the Chief of Police, the Captain of Police,
Ooh.
or the Police Secretary and Records,
Ooh.
press 2.
That might be one. All right.
For a list of specific officer voicemail boxes,
Number 2?
press
They
3.
probably will say you don't have any
To
jurisdiction
report
to ask.
overnight parking,
2?
press 4.
I think
would.
2. I
Go
think
right
2.
The municipal
Two
Right to the
sounds like a-
snake.
yeah.
Right to the top of the head.
Here we go.
I can't believe they moved us.
I know. I don't like this. Hold on.
Haddon Heights Police, Captain Scardino.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon. This is Lefty Grimes. You're on the air. We have a patient who was arrested in Haddon Heights. His case was just dismissed, and he'd like to come and pick up his cannabis. There's about an ounce of cannabis there and a bunch of money, and he would like to come pick it up today.
Yep.
Can he do that?
Well, the issue was we spoke with him yesterday about it. The cannabis will be returned to him in time, but it has to be returned to us from the lab. So as soon as that's done, it will be returned to him. And as far as the money's concerned, he'd have to go to the county with that. He was advised of that yesterday.
So he has to go to the county to get his money back. Okay. Is there a number?
Yes, because we submitted it for forfeiture, but all he has to do is show them that his case was dismissed, and they'll write him a check and get his money back.
Okay, but don't they
All right, sir?
don't they use forfeiture?
That's it.
Okay, but don't they use forfeiture?
Have yourself a good day, all right?
But don't.
Bye-bye.
I wasn't done talking. But I wasn't done talking. I have another question for you. I wasn't done. I had another question. Sorry. I had another question.
Don't piss him off.
No, I had a
Anthony
question.
needs to get his medicine back.
We got disconnected. We just got disconnected. I'm sorry.
Roll Tide.
What happened? What happened?
Alabama.
What happened? Really? I wanted to talk more. He sounded very nice. I wanted to have a nice conversation with him.
You have reached the Haddon Heights Police Department. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial.
Lot of mercy.
It's the carousel of cops. It's the carousel of cops. Hang
Peter
up.
Moscow is unavailable.
Hi, this is Lefty Grimes. I'm sorry. We must have got disconnected. I don't know what happened there, but you're on the air again. We are trying to get Anthony Poole's cannabis back, and apparently they sent his money to the county, and we'd like to know where to go in the county to get his money back. Why is this patient being victimized like this? He's a very sick man. He was chained to a wall for 5 hours. You're treating him like a field nigger from 1700s. Did I just say that? Did I just say that out loud?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you did. And it's
Oh my God.
Optics.
I'm sorry.
There's a thing called
sorry.
optics that the police department ought to be familiar with, and this was not a good look for Officer. What was his name?
The chief of police's son, actually.
Oh wow, that wasn't a good. That was not a good look.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, but think about optics and PR. This was a very negative PR thing for you.
Yeah, it's. Ugh.
Patients are aware. Patients are aware now when they ride through Haddon Heights to be worried.
What was weird was when the cops asked for IDs, all the patients gave him a stack of IDs. There was like 20 cards in his hand. It would have taken him an hour, literally, to
Go through them all.
go through all those cards. Yeah. Hey. How are you?
Well, I believe the state of New Jersey calls it affirmative defense, and that any patient
Yeah,
now
man.
that has that card is in a protected class, and they have affirmative defense.
Fortunately, the way the Kuma laws are written and everything when it comes to cannabis, it's not being disseminated down the line.
Right, these
So
cops are
when you
ignorant.
get to so when you get to the local levels, as Lefty has proved all years, since the police officers are unaware, and then once they become aware, then they get upset.
Well, hopefully they won't be. Hopefully we can turn that around and we can not be upset, because hopefully you can change the mindset and take the reefer madness
Correct.
out of it
Correct.
and show them
Correct.
that there's a variety of sick people.
Correct.
From fallen officers like my father, he would support this over an opiate epidemic that we have on our hands, for sure.
I gotta do this. Yeah, big year, baby.
Yes, we're having our hello.
Hello.
We're back.
Yeah, this is
Hi.
yeah, we're all getting
Yeah.
back together.
This is like the day before the first day of school.
Oh, the phone.
Yeah.
So
Hit the red button. Yeah.
it's
Yo, you know we've been recording this whole time.
Did you hung up the phone?
Yes.
no, they were saying hang up
We
the
were
phone.
all saying hello, and so we didn't want that on there.
Yeah. Let's call back.
No, Lefty, don't. Lefty, I
wasn't
can't.
done.
I can't co-sign this.
This is Lefty.
I wasn't done.
But we got to give him a break because he's got to get his medicine back. And after he gets his medicine, roll tide on him. We had to wait till Cindy and them got off the side of the road, you know. I had to go to 3 court dates, represent myself, but we still won that too.
You did good.
All right, check it out. Joe Rullo, the future governor, is going to be on our podcast right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, let Lefty get through this without confusing him too much.
Give me a second here.
Good call, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm in the weeds here. Hold on, guys. Dead air.
You're in the weeds?
Dead air.
You say that like it's a bad thing, in the weeds.
Where's his number?
What's that?
We're still live, guys. Just saying.
All right.
So
So we're going to work with the governor this year on his opiate addiction efforts. We're hoping we're going to be welcomed with open arms. But, you know, strangely enough, that toughest law in the nation on opioid addiction that he signed also mandates that doctors continue their education in pain relief and addiction, and that they at times are mandated by law now to talk to their patients about alternatives to opiates, which would include cannabis in a state where our governor says we have a medical cannabis law. That's why there's so few people, because he ensured that it would be a medical law, and it's the most medical law in the country. All right, let's take him at his word. If it is in fact a medical law, and he signed another law that says doctors must talk about alternatives, ergo,
What
doctors
are the alternatives?
they must talk about cannabis as well. They can't not do it, or they'll be breaking his law. Wonder what the governor thinks about that. But also that they would then have to take continuing education in cannabis relative to pain relief and
Which
how it
means-
interacts with opiates in a synergistic manner.
And you would have to be educated on part of that. You have to be
Well-
educated on the cannabis laws here in the state.
Yeah.
Now the thing is
all
that
this education has to go on to comply
somewhere,
with the
yeah.
toughest law in the state. If we want to help fight addiction, and they're signing laws like that, and you know, it's beyond giving patients in-house inpatient treatment for 28 days. I get that. My point is, we can help as many as 1 out of 5 people avoid needing it in the first place.
You're on the air with Sativa Cross.
Lefty Grimes, what's happening?
Future Governor Joe Rullo, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. Just keeping busy like would be expected, right?
Good for you. Yeah, you are busy. You got a lot to talk about, and you got a lot to fix if you're governor of New Jersey. First of all, we need you to fix the medical cannabis program, because we're a mess here, and we need your help.
Yeah, you better believe the biggest problem. You had a governor for almost the last several years who has been, bashing marijuana as well as sending mixed signals to the medicinal, marijuana community, especially with doctors. And doctors didn't want to write scripts, and they were afraid, and that made the demand go up, and the supply went down. And there's doctors' appointments that are $400 or $500, but now you have, from what I've heard behind the scenes, they're lowering the milligrams with the opiates down to 30 milligrams and trying to wean people over to the marijuana. So hopefully what will happen is you'll see a decrease in the increase in the supply of doctors because of the non-mixed message, because they are pushing it, hopefully. But there's still bigger problems, though. The tax that they're charging, the sales tax, I think it's, it's a violation of civil rights, and I think, the fee that they're charging as well, just the rights in general. I mean, if somebody has cancer or any type of illness, doesn't matter, but, for example, PTSD with a veteran, and they're charging them, a club membership to join, to get your marijuana card. Come on. You don't need one to get an opiate. You don't need one to get a stomach medicine or something else like that. It's ridiculous.
All agreement here. Hi, Joe. This is Jim Miller, Lefty's co-host, and great to have you on the right side of this.
Yes,
on
thank
the
you.
podcast.
Yes.
Jessi Sanders, thank you.
One thing, that really bothers me about the sales tax on this is we do have by state constitution, do not tax over or under the counter medications. We prescription medications or over the counter, but this is not a prescription medication. It's recommended, but it's not over the counter. So, it's legally you may tax it, but how does that mean that therefore you will or should? The leap to we get to tax it, and when you think about it, patients can't afford a whole month's supply as it is on a monthly income sometimes. The 7% sales tax directly takes away 7% of their medicine. There's a physical correlation, and I figured out to be for per hour of pain, the state gets 50 cents per hour of pain by way of sales tax when a patient doesn't have their medicine. It's obscene.
I just think it's completely unfair, too. I mean, look at all the other medications that there are out there, and, it would be like, to me, it's obvious that, they don't get it, that it is a medicinal, if you're going to call it medicinal marijuana, that's what it is. It's a medicine. And, why are they taxing it when they're not taxing, other medicines? I definitely think that's a court challenge in the making.
Yeah, and they do have an appeasement bill of sorts, getting no action in committee, that would dedicate the sales tax on medical cannabis sales towards research, which, that's why I call it an appeasement bill. It's if getting no attention at all, and the money that you need to really raise for research is far beyond the scope of what you would get. It's a feel-good thing, but it doesn't make patients feel good when they can't afford their medicine because they got to pay sales tax.
Hi, Joe. My name's Jessi Sanders. Hi, Joe. My name's Jessi Sanders. I'm working with a doctor, a colleague of mine, Andrew Medavasky, and he runs a pain management clinic as well as a medical marijuana clinic, and we're working to be the most affordable in the state. And the overhead that they're charging these doctors just to be able to operate and facilitate a clinic is so immensely high. It's actually more than his pain management clinic, but we've gotten it down to where it's $300 for the entire visit and everything to come see the doctor. But that's still $300. I know myself, being disabled, that's still a chunk of money, and he's doing that just to keep his doors open and let people, he's not really making much profit there at that point.
Now, the 300. Now, would that go down if the supply of doctors were to increase substantially?
I mean, who can say, but I would like to say that we're the cheapest right now in the state. I paid $1,200 for my card, and then people behind me were
So the $300 basically covers what the fees that New Jersey is charging,
and they also
the overhead to keep.
Require the patients to have to go through an educational class, which that's what my services are. I provide the education both on the law as well as their rights as a patient, and then how they're supposed to start operating after they get their card, referring to it as their medication, where they can and cannot smoke. But that's something I went out on my own and did and negotiated with the doctor. But the fee that they get, the office, that really just pays for the office's overhead and the people, his receptionist, his manager. Other than that, he really makes his profit off the other clinic, which unfortunately is a pain management clinic. And in the state of New Jersey, Christie, if you don't pay $24,000 a year now to the state, you're not allowed to prescribe opiates. Everybody wants to talk about this bill that Christie just signed. Yeah, that's great. But at the end of the day, all it's done is made all the family doctors completely immensely scared to really practice medicine efficiently, and they're shutting down all the doctors that don't come off the checkbook. I know that personally because of both the doctor I work with and the doctor that used to be my family doctor, Arnold in Telesano, getting shut down for a investigation because they approached him last year and they wanted $15,000. He said no, and then they approached him this year. They asked for the $24,000 check, and when he didn't pay for it, they opened an investigation against him. So it's just the mills are everywhere.
Threatening and very concerning. I mean, there's a lot, and a lot of them I condemn for causing this epidemic of heroin users, because I believe that the opiates are a gateway drug to heroin. And but
Yes.
You know
I
what they're
think
doing
that
right
another
now?
thing that Christie, the what?
You know what they're doing right now? It's like when I told you that you have to pay the state that $24,000, that now makes you a pain management doctor. And because I do business with this doctor, yes, I go and I sit in this clinic, and these people are sitting in there, and it's just like a new form of Suboxone, a new form of methadone. You just have to go to this pain management clinic if you want oxycodone. And it's so sad because they're also making the little old lady sitting there that unfortunately has to have it because she's old and had back surgery. But it's just sad to sit there in that waiting room, and in a matter of 15 minutes, the people and the clientele that you can see, and to me, it just looks like a whole new racket. Just to me.
I was going to say with the way he doesn't understand that what's going to happen is, there's people that aren't ready to come off of, the painkillers because they have an addiction problem. So what they're going to do is they're being weaned, I believe, to 30 milligrams a day.
15. They're not even allowed to write 30 milligrams in the state anymore. They have to only write 15 milligrams. Only workman comp state doctors are receiving 30 milligram oxycodone in the state that I'm aware of.
Yeah, but what's going to happen, I predict, is that you're going to have a substantial amount, almost like in 2003 when the opiate pills first hit the market and they were being sold for $40, $60, $80, and then the kids couldn't afford it anymore, and then they turned to heroin, and the heroin dealers basically orchestrated and, said, wow, this is an opportunity for us to, upgrade people to something. I think that we're going to have another level of this. What's going to happen is Christie's pushing everybody off the opiates, in a position where they have nowhere else to go, the ones that aren't ready, to go get help, and they're going to be flooded to the market of the heroin, and I think we're going to see another surge in epidemic. And you heard that today.
I completely agree with you.
I've reached out to Christie's people, and they aren't listening. And I told Christie 2 years ago, in videos, that we had an epidemic, and that they're basically these pills are being used as a transition, if you will, to heroin. And 2 years ago he wasn't interested in listening, and it seems like now he's not interested in listening either. That it's not, I commend that they're trying to get people help, but what he doesn't understand is that there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that are just going to say, hey, listen, you're not going to throw me off this because I can just go out in the street, I can get the same exact thing, and I'm going to sniff it because that's not a stigma, that's not bad. But then they'll end up booting it eventually, and then, they'll be addicted to it. Either way, sniff or the other way. But
well, don't you think that if it was that easy to where you could sign your name on a piece of paper, tell family doctors or any doctor they're only allowed to give a 5-day prescription, and everybody, hey, if you're addicted, you just have to stop. If it were that easy, so many families across America would have already solved the problem. It's not that easy to be like, oh, we're just going to not allow the doctors to write prescriptions, and somehow or some way it's going to be solved. Like you said, they're going to be pushed.
I mean, if they would have done this in the beginning, it probably would be in a different state because there wouldn't have been the influx of, for example, I mean, I could tell you countless stories that I've heard. The person who gets 350 milligrams or 40 milligrams a month and keeps 50 and sells 250 at $40 to $60 each and is paying their mortgage and for their house. That's bullshit. I mean, this is supposed to be medication.
You hit the nail on the head.
And
people are just doing that to survive.
Where we are today, and if they would have had, like, what I proposed initially was that, you go to rehab after you get your hip replaced. Well, if you have some sort of a condition that requires the opiate and to get rid of the pain, and you do have to go out long term, you come in for rehabilitation, and it's, part of your insurance so that you transition off of the opiate. And each and every person that's on that, they make sure that they're okay. I don't think anybody who has never used an opiate before that takes one for a legitimate reason wants to be addicted to it and transition to heroin for the rest of their life. I don't believe that,
Never.
Joe, a friend of mine back in December died from a heroin overdose. 2 weeks before he died from heroin, he called me. He wanted to get his medical cannabis card, and I gave him a list of doctors, but there was no way he could afford the cannabis. There's no way he could afford the card. He didn't have the time. He didn't have the resources, and he wound up getting heroin, and he died. How can we stop more people from dying and getting cannabis instead of heroin?
Well, I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, unfortunately, if the Republicans don't, pick the right choice, which would be myself, there's, it's an overwhelming support for, both medicinal marijuana and recreational marijuana legalized. So, whether I win or another candidate who's for that,
Like who? Joe? Who's going to beat you? Nobody's going to beat you. The guys you're running with are what? Kim Guadagno, really?
Whoever.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Silent Kim can't win.
Come on.
Hell no, Guadagno.
She's a joke.
This is a very I need people out there to, go to Rullo2017.com, donate what they can afford. We can't even afford signs. It's very tough.
Joe, what's your biggest difference between you and Phil Murphy? Because Phil Murphy wants to legalize cannabis too, but he's like a corporate guy. He's an insider. Do we really want someone like that in office? I don't think so.
The problem with him is it's real simple. I mean, number one, he was a diplomat, which means he basically paid off somebody to get that position. You know that. He's a politician, so he was in office, kind of. And then number two is that, we all know what Goldman Sachs has done, bankrupt in New Jersey. That's how he made his money. He's like a loan shark on the bond industry, and that's bankrupt in New Jersey. And, listen, this guy wants to create a centralized bank. How's the pension treating us in the Transportation Trust Fund? We can't trust this bum.
Cash is
bank.
king.
And the other thing, too, is I will earmark, which is giving, the recreational marijuana issue a huge credibility on my end, is that I'm saying that I'm going to earmark a portion and dedicate to both the Transportation Trust Fund and the Pension Fund so that these scoundrels don't take this money and just, pee it away. Look at in, Colorado, people have a 1%, or not a 1%, I almost jumped to my next thing I want to say, but Colorado people are getting their money back, and I was even thinking, if we had different cities and towns that are doing better than others, we might be able to, lower the sales tax in certain cities that are, pushing the new recreational, revenues, and, give a tax break to each city, or even we could even lower the sales tax. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, once we have, and that's a good way to give money back to citizens, since there is a cash thing issue until the federal government recognizes it, but we can lower the sales tax perhaps, if the revenue is enough, plus give money to Transportation Trust Fund and the pension. I'm just concerned, I want to strike while the iron's hot. I want to get this before Pennsylvania and New York and Delaware. I want to be the first on the block. I want to have it years before. So they're saying $300 million in revenue. I'm figuring, we're going to make tens of billions of dollars. And I also want to stimulate the farming communities. I mean, we can really kick butt with this, organic, inorganic. I mean, let's look down the road with vapor, a different delivery source for the recreational marijuana. This could be a boon for the economy.
Right. I like what you're saying. I like the way you talk.
On board.
Hold on. So, Joe, are we going to get money back when we legalize cannabis like Colorado? Because Colorado, the taxpayers are getting money back. I want some money. Give me some.
What we need
Give me money, Joe.
Is, like any business. I mean, listen, if you had, a buttload of credit cards, and you had a choice to either pay them down or to get back money, you don't want to get back money because you're paying interest on those credit cards. So my goal as governor is going to be to obviously the Transportation Trust Fund, because these politicians are going to steal the money if you don't put it somewhere important. And then, like I said, possibility is that, you can lower the sales tax in, either different cities that are participating or whatever. And, that's a good way to give people money back, is that they're not paying more taxes. And yeah, there could be something like, what you see in Colorado, which is similar to what happens in, where is it? Trying to remember. In Alaska, where they get, they get money back. Residents get money back for because of the oil. I mean, the same thing could be the same thing for New Jersey with the marijuana. But look at all the money we can make too with all these farmers. I mean, this used to be the Garden State. you know, hey, it's the garden state. We'll now call it the weed state, you know, with the garden community.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, sir. Preach.
Round of applause for that one. Yeah,
I
we
am
like
from
that.
Mississippi, so.
We like that.
You know what's blowing the Republicans' minds is, and I think that Lefty would concur with this, is when Lefty first met me, I think he was kind of shocked because I come across at first, you see the suit on, I look like a power suit and, you know, like a politician, but, you know, it takes maybe a good 2 to 5 minutes before you realize, holy cow, this guy's for real. You know, and I haven't apologized or tried to dodge anything, and I stand by it 1,000,000%, and I think I'm just lucky because marijuana just happened to be, you know, resonating as an issue, and, you know, and with a lot of the issues that I'm for, I just, you know, I've heard certain things, I'm very passionate about it, and I think that the Republicans, you know, they're all scrambling. I mean, look at this guy, Steve Rogers. He said he wants to prosecute dealers as terrorists. Now he's taking it back. Oh, I didn't mean marijuana. Of course you did, but now you know that marijuana is a little more popular than you thought. You know, and you have my other opponent, Assemblyman Citrielli, who basically is like, oh, I'm for decriminalization. Yeah, that's after I exposed the fact that you voted against PTSD, marijuana for veterans, and it's starting to resonate, and you're starting to look, you know, it is what it is.
Unbelievable.
But I'm happy that I got, you know, listen, I got Citrielli to actually say that he's for decriminalization. I mean, can you imagine that, you know, if I told you this a year ago that you'd have a guy that's a conservative running as a Republican that's pro-2A, that's going to be completely, you know, your biggest advocate for marijuana, recreational marijuana in New Jersey, and that he's actually creating a platform within the Republican Party where both opponents now are like denying that they weren't against it to begin with. I mean, you know they were against it. You heard what Steve Rogers said. It was all over the papers.
I think that follows conservative Republican principles. The things you're saying. It's actually. I've always wondered why back in the day states' rights was all Republican principle and states' rights was being fought by Republicans. I found that strange, and I'm always very heartened when a Republican does really do the right thing. That is totally, I think, in line with what are stated conservative Republican principles. So good for you.
It really is, you know, it's you know, from a constitutional standpoint, from a freedom standpoint, from a liberty standpoint, you know, it's the most, you know, non-conservative thing you could possibly do is restrict somebody's rights from, you know, a weed that's grown, you know, that God put on this earth. I mean, you have to be kidding me. And they're showing that it, you know, helps, you know, brain cancer and all sorts of different, you know, ailments, and, you know, all the way down to a headache. And, you know, someone who doesn't have a headache, you know, is quick to say, oh, well, you know, I don't want someone using it for, you know, a headache. Well, listen, there's people that have headaches that are so bad that they commit suicide. I mean, there's people that have back pain so bad that they commit suicide. You know, who are we to restrict somebody from, you know, happiness and inner peace and, you know, being, you know, whole again, you know?
Amen, Joe. Thank you. That's
the truth.
That's
At its
what we
core.
need. We need to hear. Yeah, we want you for governor.
We
Joe
need a
Rullo
good-
for governor.
A good governor. We've
Joe
had
Rullo.
enough. We've been repressed
Joe
long enough.
Rullo.
Joe Rullo for governor. Hi, guys. Happy Easter.
So how can we?
Hopefully everybody who's, you know, pro-recreational marijuana and medicinal shows up, and all the pro-Second Amendment people and all the Trumps and Trumpettes and everybody that, you know, I support out there. If everybody shows up and votes, I mean, we could have a major upset. And I'll tell you, you know, it's not going to matter, you know, of if, you know, it's going to be when and how quick I can get this on the ground. I mean, day one I get in office, you know, we got to figure out, the legislature I know is going to approve this really fast, but what we need to do is make sure that these scoundrels don't try to, you know, put it in this account that they could use it for anything, including balancing the budget. Remember how they do with the pension? They didn't put the money where it was supposed to go, and they had no money left, and they had to balance budgets with all this money, and that's what we don't want to happen.
Cannabis is our budget solution.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and they can't argue with me against it. They didn't see this coming. And I don't see that, you know, anyone other than myself could face the Democrats, because the Democrats are pretty much for. I don't think there's any Democrats that are against the legalization, right?
No, they're all pretty much for it.
The ones running for governor, yeah, but not like Cody or Ron Rice. No, those guys are idiots.
Yeah, but they're not running. But whoever's running now, I think, and they don't realize what, they think of someone, some of these conservatives think of someone, who's medicinal marijuana, like, peace, love, and harmony, dude. That's what they're thinking. They don't understand it. There's a lot of conservative Republicans and libertarians, which a lot of them are Republicans.
Joe, the people coming.
They have no idea.
The people coming to my class to get their medical marijuana card in the state of New Jersey are so across the board, from retired police officers to firemen to the little school teacher. Just across the board. Everyone is looking at this as an option, and people need to open their eyes up there in those offices and realize that people are screaming. We need help. The PTSD epidemic is huge, and many other things.
Yeah, it's ignorance, because you look at alcohol during Prohibition. Look back to Prohibition. Watch a show on it, like one of those old-fashioned shows where they're all hiding, in a room and having, what do they call them, speakeasies and different things like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a joke. And you know what else is a joke? Everybody smokes pot in New Jersey. Not everybody, but meaning everybody's smoking it anyway. And, the chances are, basically, to me, it's so ridiculous that they're calling something illegal that they know they can't enforce anyway. Oh, and then today, you have the nerve to have these, events where they're trying to make it look like they're trying to keep people out of jail, but at the same time, they're putting somebody away for having, like, a couple marijuana plants for, like, 11 years versus somebody who gets busted in as a correction officer, gets, like, no prison at all, and was dealing OxyContin, and she was a correction officer for kids in Ocean County.
Yep. I had to fight for my life, Joe, for 5 years. A girl that's disabled, a victim of felony assault and battery, no record, because I was growing a few plants in my spare bedroom, and they wanted to give me 25 years. I beat them. I won. So, yay to me.
You won, Jessi.
Yeah.
You won in the end.
It only took 5 years and every brain nerve ending I had.
Did we lose our call?
Oh, Joe.
Joe, you there?
Beep. He was like, oh, no.
We lost him.
I can't talk to criminals.
I didn't ask him who's a bigger douche either.
Oh. Well, let's talk about what I'm doing for us to go. If you got a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to distill.
Go ahead. Take over the show. It's your show, Jessi.
No.
No, it is, because I have to run to go pee-pee.
Oh, my bad.
TMI.
TMI.
What's it?
To the library,
Yes.
yeah.
What are we doing?
We're taking over for
Yeah, you guys are taking over. And I'm going to go smoke a joint. I need to smoke a big fatty.
Let's have Jim take over.
All right, yeah, Jim. Oh, my God, a blunt. I love it. Jim, I'm going to go smoke a blunt. I will be back. I'm taking a break. I love blunts. Sorry. Okay. All right. Welcome back to the show. That was a very good call with Joe Rullo, by the way. That's our future governor. Man, go to JoeRullo.com, JoeRullo2017.com, I believe it is. And you can donate $20 to Joe Rullo's fund. We want Joe Rullo as governor. Joe Rullo will do things as governor that we need. He will legalize cannabis. He's a libertarian. He's the kind of governor that we'll need in New Jersey, because Phil Murphy's a jerk. Phil Murphy's an insider. He's a Goldman Sachs. We'll have Governor Goldman Sachs if Phil Murphy's in there. We don't want Governor Goldman Sachs. Just saying.
Well, hold on. You can't say we. You got to say I. Maybe I want him. I might. You can't say we. You can't speak. You can't speak for the whole crew.
I do what I want.
Okay, that's true. But you don't have credibility in my mind when you speak for me, because I know better. I don't. Here the deal is, I don't want to hold anything against anybody. Goldman Sachs rings kind of a bad bell, but if it's good enough for the country, maybe, because there's a lot of Goldman Sachs going on down in D.C. now too. I don't know. Whoever has the best chance of really pushing it through. I like what Joe was saying. I thought that was pretty good. I do think that was pretty good. I see the promised land this year.
No, I think so too.
No, I do. I see it on so many fronts. And I'll just say it one time. I think that as advocates, we should not advocate for weed. I think we should advocate for cannabis or marijuana if somebody doesn't know what cannabis is. But it's like there's no such thing as medical weed. It sounds silly to me. It sounds
magical.
No, I mean, but it's just like, no, I mean, when we talk with each other.
Yeah.
But when we advocate or talk in a committee or to legislators or things, it's sort of like, I like dressing like them and sounding like them and sneaking up on them. I can only do so much with my beard and hair, and they see, I get correctly profiled.
Okay.
But also, I like to, I don't recreationally have a beer ever. I don't recreationally do it. I drink socially. Yeah, I'm a social drinker. So I'm a social cannabis consumer as well. I consume it socially, and when you think about it, we don't pass beer around. Cannabis consumption as social can be. You are literally sharing the exact same thing and passing it around. It is the most communal form of getting around with people that I know, and that's actually what attracted me to it in the first place. You don't sit on opposite sides of the room and share a joint. You sit closer to each other.
And you have to be able to pass it. And we're not allowed to do
and
that.
you can go to the right, you can pass to the left, you can do a star pattern. It's your circle. You can do it any way you. That's Bob. My tribute to Bob Ross, the painter. This is your painting. You can make it a sad sky.
Happy birds, isn't it? Happy trees. Make it happy trees.
So I just think that this year we have a couple of special gifts. One, the opiate abuse law that the governor signed. That is the toughest opiate law in the country. 5 days worth of an opiate for new patients, and then you would have to see the doctor again to get any more than that. That undercut New York's 7-day lowest in the country limit. That was done by design, and I don't disagree. The governor's doing what I would be doing if I were him, picking low-hanging fruit, and you get to say the toughest law in the country and actually standardize that to a point where it's true. It sounds good, but if he's going to really hang his hat on that, I see an opportunity that his law creates for us that doctors, after that first visit, when patients go back, by law must discuss with patients options other than opioids for pain relief with the patient. You must. So the governor also says we have a medical marijuana program. And he made sure it was a medical program, and unfortunately so many people couldn't get in because of him making sure it was a medical program, which he assures us we have. And he has the toughest law that mandates doctors have to talk about options other than opiates, which would include cannabis, because we are about to have pain added as an indication, at least recommended by the advisory board. So assuming that pain is added, which I think it will be, at that point, the advisory board is going to recommend it. The health department, if they did not go with their advisory board's recommendation, all hell will break loose, all bets will be off, and I will be so much more like Lefty. We will be like twins. I will be definitely being bad about that, and I don't think that's possible. I don't. It's not even intuition. It just adds up. It's going that way. Other states are including cannabis in their laws specifically because the American Medical Association says their research has shown that states that did that, the first 13, showed a 24.8% reduction in overdose death rates to both illegal and legal opiates, including. Yeah. So the thing is, that's also what impressed most of the people on the advisory panel, and I was there to hear that the people who spoke in favor of adding chronic pain, neuropathic pain, osteoarthritis pain, the head of the committee says he's wants to include the recommendation under chronic pain, so it wouldn't be several different, you wouldn't qualify which kind of pain, just chronic pain. If your pain is not going away, it would make you eligible for the program. And that is the right thing to do. But at that point, doctors by law, by my interpretation, would have to discuss cannabis as an option for patients who need continuing opiate interview. So how are they going to discuss that if they don't know about it? They will have to have continuing education, which would be CEO of the coalition, Ken Wolski, also of the American Cannabis Nurses Association, American Cannabis Association, ACA, and who do accredited continuing education seminars. So Ken is capable of putting together continuing educational seminars that doctors would have to go to. You know, or they'd have to explain why not. And when you're talking about what we're doing in New Jersey, we've also become of national interest because the current administration is talking about New Jersey being the model for the country, to the point that our governor is the advisor federally of how to proceed with opiate addiction efforts. So anything that goes on in New Jersey reflects on the administration, the federal government. It's as close as we can tie what we're doing to what's going on federally. It's just kind of all the stuff falling into our laps in the last 17 weeks.
No, everything has been coming together since.
All this is over the off season.
Yeah, right.
It's and it doesn't end there. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper. This, not to speak at all of the legalization efforts that will be ramping up as the gubernatorial race heats up, all going on this year, and will be reconciled before this season's podcasts are over in November.
Yeah, well, won't it?
We outlast them on this. So, we really would like to make it easier for patients to enter the program quicker, especially those who are there because of pain. Because what they're telling me is patients don't wait for their medicine when they're in pain. If they're not getting it here, they're going to get it somewhere else. And eventually, then they turn to heroin because it's cheaper. And this is the state educating us that this is how it happens. So let's stipulate, okay, let's say that is exactly how it happens. Then we have to help them sooner rather than later. And if getting rid of the physician registry so a doctor could recommend cannabis on the spot would be a start. The problem is how long it takes to get into the program. At that point, there should be a way to expedite it so that it would at least at the worst be, I can recommend your 5 days worth of opiates, and I can only recommend you can only get a certain small amount of cannabis. But you have to get it before the 5 days is up. You have to be able to see if it can work in synergy with it, which it does for people. Or if the 5 days runs out, you have to be able to say, okay, I can give you more and you can have cannabis with that. But it has to be expedited, and it can be done. I mean, when you go to a doctor and he writes a prescription, how long does it take to fill it? Ever?
Take it for get it a prescription.
It's
right away.
Yeah, pretty much. If it's phoned in, the pharmacy will have it ready by the time you get there. With cannabis, it takes weeks, months, hoops, everything. So, we do.
Then you got to get to a dispensary that's by you, which is none by me.
It's every time. It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you take care of one thing, something else pops up. But it's like whack-a-mole, where you hit one and two pop up. ooh, no, can't do that here. Oh, no. We've already had the state troopers out here advising Stephen about this. It just letting you know you're taking away my plausible deniability here.
Those are mine. I need those. I'm fucking Dr. Gonzo here.
Let me explain what plausible deniability is. I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. That's plausible deniability.
Okay.
Mr. Miller, you're not people can't be consuming cannabis at the podcast. I didn't know. Okay, so it can't be in my freaking line of vision, you know. I need plausible deniability.
You didn't see that.
Stephen, well, what's that?
You didn't see that.
I understand, but Stephen knows that. And that's the running joke between me and Stephen is when he showed up before. Remember, Stephen, when you showed up, I said, "Yeah, Stephen, I know you're here. I can smell you. I just can't look at you." That retained my plausible deniability, you know. And then what happened? Yeah, then what happened? Then we had uniform representation, and I'm like, you know, I'm Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. I know nothing.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
You know? Yeah, it is.
I still had to show my public disobedience to the law because it's still not right.
Yeah, I know, but you know me. I have to look away. I'm Sergeant Schultz, you know? It's exactly who I am, you know?
Your glasses dropped.
Out of respect for you is the reason why I go up that way.
Joey, come sit down in Lefty's seat.
I'd love to come sit down.
Warm it up for him, and then
and the
you can
glasses
switch
that
over and
Lefty
move
gave
my
me.
seat.
It wasn't me. I didn't take your glasses.
Let's see if he's got the blue on there. I think you're on that. Yeah, do that.
What I gotta do? Can you hear me? I can't. Okay, here we are. All right, what up, everybody? You're here with your homie Joey L. Train, the Jersey boy. I'm going to play some Johns right now from Zach De La Rocha. I do not own the rights to this music, but I do have Amazon Prime, so I'm playing it, and I hope you guys can hear it because the message is tight. Yo, fuck that bright shit, the spot of the white lights. Because we in Jersey ducking bullets and bushes with lead pipes. Because Jed Phase is all night. Yo, Ed Fortune locked up all night. And it's bullshit.
Okay, they're not gonna. They can't. I'm sorry, man.
What?
In the courtyard, they're gonna not.
Oh, no cursing?
Yeah.
Oh, I
man.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll apologize for that then.
Yeah.
No, true apology from the bottom of my heart.
No,
Didn't
I know that.
Never
it's-
been to the State House before for a podcast.
Well,
How
this
you guys doing
actually,
today?
actually only the annex. We're not allowed at the State House anymore because of impending construction. So 2 years worth of being at the State House with the big pillars in the background.
Impending construction.
Give-
What about the impending destruction?
Yeah, there you go. You know,
How about that?
the 300 million.
My man over there with the Leafs on his hat.
Hey,
That's what I'm talking about.
Two things are worth $300 million in this state. One, it's going to cost $300 million to fix the State House. Two, we estimate it would get $300 million if we legalize cannabis. So it's a familiar number around here from whole different looks.
You know, I was watching Ed's video last night when he was talking about running for office. I forget what the position was, but it was like a 3-minute video. He had a suit on, and he was talking about legalization and how it's like a medical problem for people. Like, I'm an alcoholic personally, so I can go into any store I want and buy alcohol because I'm over 21, but I've got a serious problem when it comes to drinking. Like, it ruins my life, and it ruined a very good portion of my life, at least I'd say 10 to 15 years of my life that I struggle with alcoholism.
And probably affected some other lives along the way.
Oh, forget about it. Everybody in my life. I made an absolute fool of myself. I embarrassed myself in front of people I care about. I alienated relationships.
How long
good
since
people.
you haven't had a drink?
Well, I do drink. Well, no, hang on. But listen to me.
Socially.
Well, that's the thing, Michelle.
Wrong premise.
My wife and I went out to Applebee's a couple months back. It was lovely. And the waiter came up, or the waitress, excuse me, and I started thinking, you know, I wonder what kind of panties she's wearing, you know, her underwear. And then I
Your
started
mind just
thinking
kind of
maybe-
goes off that way.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about drinks.
Odds are they're probably white cotton underpants, but then I started thinking maybe it's a thong. Maybe it's something cool that I don't even know about. But that's beside the point. So we got a drink, right? My wife, she's not an alcoholic, but, you know, she's not a big drinker. But I got a beer. I had a Yangweling, and, you know, I had like 2 or 3 sips along with my water. And I really wanted a beer that day. Like, I just wanted to taste it. And, no, that was the last time I had a drink. And I'll tell you what, if I want to go into a bar or a place and I want to maybe order a Guinness or something like that, I'm going to do it because I'm an adult and because I need to control my life because I know that I'm an alcoholic.
I like
know
that
I
part
can't have
there.
more than
You
one.
need, you know, you do get more control of your life rather than less doing that, I think. But, you know, it's hard for me to say. People have divergent opinions on that, and they're very passionate about that. So I'm glad to see somebody taking it so seriously, knowing how destructive it could be, and letting that be the lesson. You've been there. You don't necessarily have to go back.
And, you know, well, real quick, too, you talk about, like, passionate and how serious you are about people and people's beliefs and things like that. What it really comes down to, for me, is that I don't really believe in shit because I believe that
as days go on, as the minutes change, everything changes. So that the minute I start believing in something, something could change, or something could be better, or, you know, it's this resistance to change. It's this mindset that people don't want to fall into. It's that they don't want to accept things that are better. They don't want people to be healthy. They don't want people to be safe. They want to pad their pockets, and they want to line their pockets, and they just want to continue to get rich, and it's greed, and it's disgusting, and it makes me sick, and I'm going to shut them down. You hear me, motherfuckers?
Okay. Oh, no, you can't do that.
Well, I'm doing it.
No,
2024, I'll be doing it legitimately.
Okay, the thing is, see, when it echoes, you're going to shut us down from getting permits.
I'm going to have to walk
No,
away. I'd like to just say it to their face, but nobody wants to listen to me, so that's why I'm taking action myself. I'm going to turn it all upside down, and we're actually going to have a government for the people.
We can help you do that. You can sit here. There's certain basic little plays that we kind of can't do. But within their boundaries,
you
know.
Just can't curse.
Oh, okay. So all right. So I can't curse. We can't smoke. Even though I have a card,
right.
I can't smoke.
They can't smoke.
And I get my cannabis from the dispensaries
nobody can
legally.
smoke. Tobacco is in the
If you
way.
smoke
Okay,
tobacco,
no
they see
tobacco.
somebody smoking tobacco, you could tell them.
Smoking
and they'll
anything.
Tell them
What about vape that I bought from Wawa?
I don't believe they go with that either. Although that's kind of ambiguous, you know.
I'll tell you what. Let's talk about cigarettes real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about how I'm an alcoholic. I'm putting my shit out there. Let's talk about smoking cigarettes. So one day I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I'm walking down the street, and I start thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start smoking cigarettes today. That's how I started smoking cigarettes. I just made a conscious decision as a 13-year-old. I stopped because I was in my apartment. So I turned around. I went back to my house, took a pack of my mom's cigarettes, and started smoking cigarettes right then. And that's how I started smoking cigarettes. So for about 15, 20 years or so, I smoked cigarettes, you know, on a daily basis. Here and there, you know, a pack a day, half a pack a day, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. You know, I didn't really measure it. I wasn't like thinking about it. I just kind of enjoyed cigarettes. And I'll tell you what, I don't smoke cigarettes on a daily anymore. I've been using these vape Johns. I'm not a big fan of nicotine at all, but it's so much better than smoking cigarettes.
It's interesting about that. What I get out of that, I hear that, and I'm thinking. And the interesting part to me is that nobody makes anybody control their cigarettes, their tobacco around children. Never have, never will.
Exactly.
And you know, and that's if it was cannabis. DIFUS, kids are gone.
Yeah.
So
it's
totally inconsistent.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I think they changed the name of DIFUS really recently.
Doofus.
Doofus is what it is, I believe. And so if anybody from DIFUS or any state agency or any federal agency wants to come into my house and check me out, you're absolutely not welcome. You're absolutely not welcome. But I've got nothing to hide is basically what I'm saying. And I even put a post out the other day about consuming cannabis in front of my kids. And I don't smoke in front of my kids. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke tea. I don't know what else you can really smoke, but I don't smoke anything in front of my kids. But you know what? If I'm at home and I'm cooking, if it's breakfast and it's a Saturday and I have my can of butter that I made with my Johns from the dispensary, I might put some of that can of butter on my eggs. Yeah. And without even telling my kids. And then I'm consuming cannabis in front of my kids and they don't even know it. It's not that I'm hiding it from them. If they wanted to ask me about it, forget about it. I'll tell you it's my medicine, but it's not something that I'm out there to just
That's just good parenting. I mean, you know, and one day when your kids are older and understand, they'll realize that they didn't get in the way of your health because of your considerations for them, and that's going to do them some good. I mean, imagine what it's like when because you mean you weren't doing that for me? You know, that's a heavy burden for a kid to grow up with.
It's a huge burden, and I tell you what, as a kid growing up, I used to smoke weed as a kid growing up, and I had to hide it from my mom. And now that I'm an adult, I consume cannabis, and I have to kind of hide it from my kids, so it's weird.
It is. It's a generational thing.
My kids.
I was with a friend who had opened up a business in Seaside. It was like an outdoor party, and we had a little spot. And I could not believe where he was lighting something up and then goes, "All right, come on, kids, got to put it out quick." I'm thinking, wow, because I'd grown up with him when it was, here comes my parents, we got to put it out quick. And all of a sudden he was on the other end of that. And I don't know. I found it kind of, what do you know, the Cats in the Cradle, the song, you know, my boy is just like me. Yeah, well. But,
well, that's what they do, you know. I mean, all it is everything that you said. Like, I hate to say this, but it all comes back to monetary compensation for those that are in charge, that are self-appointed, that say that we appoint them as a democracy, but it's a democracy that's shoved down our throats. People talk about ballots, people talk about voting, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I don't care. I have never voted before in my life. I have never believed in a candidate. I have never believed in our political system, and if anybody has a problem with that, you can check me. You can catch me outside, as that young little girl said, because I don't give a shit. All right, anybody out there, you can check me. You maybe have done something for the country. If you have done something for your state or your party, okay, 10 years on active duty, Iraq and Afghanistan,
yeah, you have a
I
right
feel like I have the right to not vote.
You earned that right, though. You know that.
I feel like I have the right to say that I want to shut it down.
Okay, and here's another thing, too. When people also talk about you got to exercise the right to vote, and bear with me on this, you go beyond that. you get out here, other places you do, to affect change. People think that going and pushing a couple of buttons is all their responsibility where it ends. You, my friend, do what it is that other people won't do for you that you could vote for if you would. You take it upon yourself. I do as well, and maybe that's why I admire you for doing that.
And I admire you, sir.
And no, your vote, okay, here, my vote's never decided anything. Do you know that? I never voted in an election where we won by one. So let's get realistic. It didn't change anything. It's to make everybody feel good. And I vote so I can say I voted to the people who you're now saying, screw you. And I agree, but I'm talking about if I want to talk to a legislator, I only do it so I can say that. And between you, me, and a lamppost, I didn't vote every year either. I say it quietly so nobody else can hear us.
But now you can say it loudly.
No, well, it's a microphone and it's worldwide, so I guess that's moderately loud in my own way of saying it. But it's to me. Okay, look, when people go out and point out things and voting, let's acknowledge it's not going to really necessarily change an election. It shows what people's views are. It's almost like a poll in itself. But what it is if you bitch about something and you do something to affect change actively, that makes you an activist of sorts, using the word loosely. If you bitch about something and you don't do anything to affect change, that makes you a bitch.
Yeah, I like that. Bitch!
That
was straight Jessi from Heisenberg.
Well,
bitch! Wait, can you say that? You said
No, you can say it, but you can't yell it.
Oh, I wasn't yelling. I was just,
I'm just
utilizing my diaphragm to just kind of make it project.
If you hear the echo.
Oh, yeah, then that's too loud. Okay. See, I got to work on that thing. I'm new,
listen,
so I'm asking for forgiveness before permission.
No, listen, Joey,
no. So I apologize to the state and the federal government for any rules that I may have broken.
It's a learning
that you have
process.
set forth for us.
First of all, we don't
Ignorance
actually
is no
have
excuse.
we don't have the, I was trying to give you that out. You cut me off. I was
sorry.
Actually, there was nowhere here posted, so Joey would have no way of knowing. But you're like, ignorance is no excuse, so I can't help you out.
No, I don't want help
right.
when it comes to that shit. You're right. Ignorance is no excuse.
But see, the thing is, what your learning process here that's only minutes took us years because the rules also change along the way. Sometimes what was good last year is not good this year. It used to be we could tape signs like everywhere. No more taping signs to things. So what it is, if there's something I think I can change with the rules, I would try. I like the step to the left. Okay, I'll step to the left.
To the left.
But
everything you own in a box, you're in jail. That was a song by Beyonce. She does it. Everything you own in a box to the left, then you walk up into the prison and you're screwed. I think it goes like that. I don't know, Michelle.
That's this long? I don't listen to that music.
I don't either.
Yeah,
That's why I don't know the words, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, I like to know all sorts of genres of music so I can fit in anywhere, whether I really care to or not. And odd thing about music that I normally don't listen to, when I hear music live, I like stuff that I would have passed by on the radio, and I hear it live and see, why is that any different? You would think I would get the same thing from the radio. I don't. All I know about music is if my body starts moving, I like it. I mean, if I feel, that's it.
Yeah.
That's how I know I like it. It's like, do you like that song? I'll be going, apparently I do.
Well, let me talk about music real quick. So you talk about that and how people like
okay,
music.
one thing. Cannabis, because it's a cannabis show. And
No, but that's where
we got to
going.
mention cannabis at least once every 5 minutes.
I'm getting there. Oh, is that? Oh, okay. I can still say.
I got you good for 5 minutes, man. Yeah.
Okay, so
cannabis.
basically, when it comes to the music, cannabis, basically what I do with music is that I like music. I hear stuff I like, but when it comes to certain music like Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, Beastie Boys, Chuck D, Public Enemy, all of these people that are political, that have large political voices. We are all the voice of the voiceless, and we need their help. That's why we need their help to get Ed Forchon out of prison. We need these people's helps. They are activists. I understand people do things for money. That's how you survive. These people have taken their talent of music, and that's how they get out there. But at the same time, I know they have these beliefs in their hearts. I know that they look at a man who is a political prisoner, who has a voice, who has exercised his First Amendment right as set forth by the United States government of America, the federal and the state government. And I know that they're going to be on board with us because they're going to see this, that he is a black man being beaten up, being bullied by a system that is not made for him. And what it ultimately comes down to, in my opinion, is that this system is the ultimate multi-level marketing system. And this system is resistant to change because like any other multi-level marketing company, I'm sure you've seen them out there, like the Amways, the LuLaRoe, all these companies that do this stuff. You can walk up to these people, open up your phone and say, hey, you know your multi-level marketing is a scam, right? Here are some facts. And they will look at you in the eyes and say, there's absolutely no way that this is a scam. This is my life. This is great. This is not a scam. That's what multi-level marketing is. So the government is pimps. They're the ultimate multi-level marketing system. And basically what the government is, and multi-level marketing, network marketing is pyramid scams, basically, for those out there that know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a pyramid scam. So you start with, and government is the ultimate pimp. So it starts with government. They're at the top of the pyramid. And then under government is United States government, Chinatown government, Russia's government, all these different governments around the world. And then under all these governments are their different level chains and their little hierarchies, and it becomes a gigantic pyramid. And when you capitalize by putting these pyramids in different parts across the world, you can own the world. So whoever government is, own the world. But see, this is the other thing. So right next to government is religion, because in God we trust, right? So government and religion, I think, are the ultimate multi-level marketing schemes, but who's above them? Because it's all a pyramid. So who's the top of the pyramid? God, right? But see, this is what I'm talking about. So we've got all these religions with gods, right? So you got religion and government, right? Let's talk about the multi-level marketing religion, right? So the same thing. They got under religion, they got Catholicism, they got Buddhism, they got the Quran, they got the Torah, they got all these different Johns that people can buy into and that people can believe in because it's happiness. It's everybody's pursuit of happiness. And I would never take happiness away from anybody. If people like multi-level marketing, if people like religion, government, enjoy it. I don't want to take anything away from anybody. Me personally,
I'm envious, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But what it comes down to is who's at the top of that pyramid. So like you said, God, right? I grew up Catholic. I've studied religion actually extensively. I've taken classes. I've read, all of the different books. Like, I'm not really into them. I can't quote them or cite them or anything like that. But I wanted to learn, so I do my research. It's what I do. And people talk about. My wife said it to me the other day. She said, "How did you learn all this stuff?" I said it was from the music. I said it was from Zach. It was from Serge when I was in high school, because they would put this shit out there and it would make me think. It would make me wonder. It would make me think, what are you guys talking about? And I would do research, and I would find out that they weren't full of crap. I would try to go to every journalistic venue that I could possibly find, because I don't believe that journalism is necessarily unbiased. So I need to get all of these different opinions and take all of this research, because this research
is not necessarily unbiased. That's good, because it usually is one way or the other, and you do have to go to opposite sources and try to figure out. I do the same thing.
Because check it, facts come from people.
Yeah.
Like, everybody talks about facts, right? Oh, it's a fact that this is the law. Well, that law came from a person. People make these facts. So if people are making the facts, then the facts aren't necessarily accurate.
It would be, and I guess a rough segue to cannabis and all. Wouldn't it be nice if it were mandatory to fact check when people are having a discussion about cannabis legalization, medical improvements, that people get to say pretty much whatever they want, and it bothers me, because then they can keep coming back and saying other things before anybody fact checked them and said you were wrong then. Why should we believe you now? Gene Dixon used to come on back in my little kid's day every New Year's Eve and predict what's going to go on for the next year, but she never dealt with last year's predictions. And as a little kid, it would piss me off saying, but was she wrong last year? Some of that weird stuff didn't happen, so why are we still listening to her?
I'll tell you
it applies to the crap that I got to go through here.
Let me answer that question for you.
Cannabis.
Because cannabis, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay for people to do that. It's okay for people to be wrong with projections, and they make us believe that it's okay for these people to be wrong because we have sports, and the sports analysts are constantly wrong.
Yeah.
And it's okay for them to be wrong. And then our weathermen are constantly wrong.
They're practicing
so guess what?
meteorologists.
It's okay for people to be constantly wrong in this country.
Yeah.
I think ignorance is no excuse.
I agree. I do agree. And we become desensitized to people being constantly wrong, because the wrong so quickly sometimes that you don't have time to deal with one wrong before something else happens, and you almost start to be able to scarily outrun your own crap if you spew enough of it. That's what kind of bothers me. I want to sit down and deal with one particular thing sometimes. I've always, and I like to invite, and I think we are going to be doing more of that this year, people opposite points of view on the show, and we do a Coalition for Medical Marijuana, Princeton Community TV. I've suggested that. We want people opposite. We have to
I love that show.
We have to.
Ken Wolski is amazing what he does with
We
people.
have
He's
to be able to
incredible.
simply guarantee them equal time and civility, and get people with opposite points of view in,
You know what's great? People have opposite points of view. That's what's great about America is that you can have an opinion. You don't all have to necessarily agree.
Well,
so that's why I think that when we have a United States of America, maybe we shouldn't have a United States of America. Maybe we should have an independent set of states, whether it's 50 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 or freaking however many. If you could find a little community of people that wants to be self-sustainable and not deal with anybody else's bullshit, even if they're white supremacists or black supremacists, or if they hate this group or hate that group and they've just got this hate in their heart and they want to let it out, let them let it out. I don't care. You know what I mean? Just don't hurt anybody and keep it to your, keep it in your little Johns. The minute you're a white hate group and you start going to black people's houses and burning flags and lynching black people, then you got a problem. Any group that does that, any group that is based on hate, that infringes their beliefs on someone else and tries to make someone else's life impaired because of their beliefs, that's when I have a problem. But I don't have a problem if you want to believe it. I don't care what you want to do in your backwoods with your bonfires and shit. Do whatever you want. Just don't hurt people.
What I got a problem with is hit and run. And I used to campaign like that with the late, great Cheryl Miller in Washington. No more hit and run. If you have something to say about medical marijuana and you say it in a position of influence as a legislator will, that you do not have the right to say that and run from what you've just said. And we are going to hold you responsible to it.
Yeah, they never defend their ideas.
But okay, now, real quick, the short version of what I always thought was a good idea is a place you can go to, like a behind the woodshed for a discussion, where if somebody's I'm deleting, so like it would be an instant Skype sort of thing, equal time, civility get cut off. The one that gets angry usually is the one that loses anyway in a discussion like that, because when you're right, you don't need to be angry. You just need to kind of smile and be right. And that basically gives people
is a gift.
Yeah. It's sort of like I want people to be able to discuss it other than, okay, in a forum you'll have 30 seconds and then you'll have 30 seconds. It should be just an evolving discussion that follows its own natural course.
Well, yeah, because everybody on social media gets in an argument and then they delete and block someone. They delete and they block someone. You know they do.
No, they don't.
And they never... Then you never, if you delete and block everyone that you don't agree with, you're never going to hear a different opinion. I never delete people like that. I'll talk to anybody.
You know, you make a lot of sense faster than anybody making sense I've ever heard talk. You talk fast, but not too fast to understand.
The reason I talk so
want
fast
to tell you that
is because our time is valuable and our clocks are ticking. Time is the only thing that we have.
No, I'm
that
just
we don't
just
have
letting
that
you
we can't
know.
Get more of.
You didn't ask for my advice, and
I want your advice.
I
don't have to ask. I don't have to ask for your advice for you to know that I want it.
Don't change a thing about that. I'm just saying that sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with a rapid conversation, but you're really good at getting it out.
Thank you.
As if it was carefully arranged and then sped up. And I see you get into your kind of train of, and because I try to do that. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. You seem to be able to pop into, an art form of discussion.
It's literally all impromptu.
Well, but I'm congrats, man.
Thank you.
You got the gift to do that, and you don't waste it.
I've also been trained. I've been trained extensively on public speaking. I've done my own independent research on public speaking. I've actually taken college courses on public speaking. For example, when I was in the military as well, I went through leadership academies where one of the biggest majority of the leadership academies a lot of the time was like public speaking. So I've learned how to do this and formulate my opinions and then how to relay those opinions. I also work, I work in a cube 37.5 hours a week on the phones all day. So I'm constantly talking and constantly trying to find better ways to be a good talker because I have to, because that's how I make my money. So like I have to feed my wife, my kids, I have to clothe them. That's the worst thing about having kids. Did you know you have to feed them?
yeah, and clothe them, right?
That's why I don't have kids.
And not just feed them, but certain stuff. And you can't just feed them the cheap stuff.
No.
Because it might not be good for you.
No, because we all know better.
I used to eat dirt, and I turned out okay.
Yeah, well, God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt.
humans is the gods, man. And like I say, the gods, the GAWDS. I'm not trying to be blasphemous to any religion, but I believe that they, from Catholicism, they talked about how God is inside all of us, I think. So if God's inside all of us, then we the gods.
Yeah, we God.
We the God.
We're the God of all of our own universes.
Hey, listen, I keep looking for a box that I can fit into, where a book has the answers. How easy my life would be if there was a book that had the answers.
The instruction booklet? That would be nice, right?
Yeah.
But wait, that's where the multi-level marketing succeeds, because they see that. They're like, how can I capitalize on this? How can I exploit his versatility and flexibility? He wants a book that's going to help him be happy. Let me sell him this book. And while I'm selling you this book, let me sell you a membership, because it's not about the products necessarily. It's not about how you're going to save so much money doing this, you're going to be part of a community, or you're going to be so happy. It's about the membership. It's about being part of something. And that's what they sell. And they juice you, and they take you, and they take everything that you have, and they become a tapeworm inside of your body, just eating away until there's nothing left, and then they find another host.
And otherwise intelligent people go that route. I mean, otherwise, which is what gets me, because somebody, finds
sex
solace
sells
in that.
Sex sells marketing has been made I don't know what the right word is. They've made it so perfect, and they've
Target
iced
marketing.
the target marketing with the sex sells advertising in this country has become
bought
so
my
good.
bobo stick
It
just to
literally
show
is
her
reacting on
Cannabis.
The natural animal brain is being worked on
Well,
there.
I-
That's
I
why
just
people
want-
don't know what
yeah.
they're doing. And they just,
Yeah,
like you said, the
yeah.
intelligent people just fall into it.
This by the way, this are spring training. This is like pitchers, catchers showing up for spring training. We get to
We can
kind
make
of do whatever we
mistakes.
want
Like
today.
Like I made mistakes
No,
today.
no,
you know what
but
I mean? Learning.
equipment check, and I'm just acknowledging, because I'm one having fun doing this, and it's working the kinks out, cannabis. But I'm the one that always tries to keep it, as Jessi will attest to, that
Hi,
I
Jessi.
try to make sure it's about cannabis to a degree. But that's during the regular season, which doesn't actually start till our first podcast in May.
Is that this is spring training, and then May is the beginning?
Yeah, it's a loose definition. Feels so much, but also
I don't like this girl.
that we can also improve.
Jessi booted Joey.
No, I just gotta go, unfortunately, but I wanted to talk to Jim about what I've been doing.
I should have booted Tony.
Yeah, I couldn't even talk.
What's his name, Joey? Sorry, Joey. Jim, do you know what I've been doing? Do you know you've been seeing me on Facebook at least?
I've been staying off Facebook except for bursts when I need to push buttons.
That's cool.
No.
Well, I don't know, I had it like a conviction on my heart for so long that there was a gap in the medical program, and I didn't like the way that I got my card. I was thankful to get it, but I didn't necessarily like.
So what are you doing?
I legitimately, tax ID number and everything. I've started a medical marijuana education center called the Compassionate Care Center, and I've started working with Dr. Medved in South Jersey, and I'm doing the education portion of his medical cannabis card. And
Set it on the table up here.
oh, what?
We're looking.
Glasses?
That's okay. We're setting the bar low for technique today.
But there.
Oh, Joey, one more thing before I get away. Stay here. That when you can talk as rapidly as you do and make sense, the reason is because you don't have to remember any bullshit. Everything you're saying comes from the head and from the heart, and you couldn't possibly speak like you do if it were otherwise. That's how I tell bullshit. In the middle of stuff. We'll get to know each other better, bro.
Yeah, I like Joey a lot. You
week.
shouldn't.
Well, I'm learning things. It's sort of like I can aspire to get more
let me
like
tell you
that.
something.
Okay,
Five or
Jessi.
69.
So tell us what you're doing.
Okay, so there was like a gap in how people were always disconnected, and people, if they wanted to get their card, they didn't know where to go to get their card, and if people, just they didn't know. So what I started.
This is true.
What I started was I was like, you know what? I'm going to call it the Compassionate Care Center, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring some compassion and some care back to these people that are, ill, and what.
Yeah, right. And we have a compassionate use medical marijuana law, which is not compassion. So good for you for using compassion in the proper context.
Thank you, Jim. But I really feel great, because so far I've been met with nothing but positive and growth. I mean, I've only been doing it for a month now. I've actually had my ID number and seeing patients for a month, and sending people to Dr. Medved. But what I've also been working with is a psychiatrist privately to help people that don't have diagnosis for PTSD be able to get their diagnosis, and through one patient it's led to another through a snowball effect. And when I get back next week from Florida, the marketing is going to hit big, but I want to be a resource center for people, and also we're the most affordable in the state, and we're the fastest in the state for people to get their card, and we're opening a new office in Princeton in a couple of weeks.
How long's what's considered a good time, a fast time for getting a card from initial?
Well, if they call me and they schedule their appointment to do their education, they come and sit with me, they do their education class. When they're done with that, they call and schedule their appointment with Medved and at his office. They go and see him, and when they go and see him, that's only their second visit, and they can get a visit normally within 2 to 3 business days. And after that, they get their card from the state, because they have to review the application in about 5 to 7 business days.
So how long, nutshell, what people will take away is how long from the time where you talk with them till they get their card?
I would say about a week and a half to 2 weeks,
That's
that's
good by standards.
provided on their
so far,
schedule,
yeah.
and when they make the appointment, because they could leave me and make the appointment for the very next
I-
day, and then they
yeah.
could have it the following week.
Yeah, it'll depend. There's going to be lots of variables. But if I were a patient, I'd be thinking that's not the 8 to 10 weeks that some people used to be talking
Took
about.
me like 7 months.
Yeah, it was a long time.
No, I had a friend just go through, and he's a friend now, but he started out as someone I didn't know, Steve Collier. Hi, Steve, if you're watching. And he needed a PTSD.
Steve? Oh.
No, but that thing's freaky.
I know. I keep smiling over it like, hey, wasn't that? Oh, no. Hey, did you hear that? Oh.
But Steve needed a PTSD diagnosis. He didn't have any medical records, and I was speaking with Dr. Medved, and now I'm working with one of the psychiatrists that he uses. Steve was able to get his PTSD diagnosis and his medical marijuana license within 2 weeks. So he got his education, he got his PTSD diagnosis from a psychiatrist, and also went to the medical physician, Dr. Medved, received his card within 2 weeks.
And when a side effect of PTSD is suicide, I think speed is kind of important in that subject.
Yeah, and also when they say that you have to have tried all other options first or whatever, it's sort of like suicide kind of says you shouldn't have to try everything else because you don't live that long sometimes. I want to explain to anybody that might be listening that doesn't have us viewing. Lefty has this amazing, what do you call that, holding the camera there?
That's Joe, I thought.
What's his name?
I don't know, but I keep smiling over that way thinking it's a person. I've taken pictures. It doesn't do any good that I can't show anybody. But he's got the camera in his mouth. It's what do you call it? Funhouse scary. You know, you get a ride in a funhouse and this plastic-like face comes. Yeah, it's that, and it's freaky, man. The hair looks real. I got a picture from behind at you, and then I got a picture from behind you at him, so I can show people at a later date.
I try to keep his junk hidden.
Yeah,
we need to kind of.
Well, at least it's camouflage.
Let me close before y'all get sidetracked with his junk.
That's part of that.
Cannabis.
Okay, that's part of our firewall right there.
Yeah.
Cannabis. Yeah.
Cannabis.
Yeah. So anyway, we explained why we were at times not talking about cannabis today because we're just working out the kinks today. It's pitchers and catchers showing up. We're just.
Can I
having
close
a
real
little
quick,
catch.
Jim, and let people know how to get in touch with me?
Yes, do that.
Hey guys, if you want to get your medical marijuana license, then you would give me a call. My number is 609-670-2616. My name is Jessi Sanders.
One more time.
609-670-2616.
Wait again. That's no. Come on, they always do it 2 more times.
609-670-2616.
That's the way it happens.
Yes, so you can call me, you can text me, whatever you like, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them, but we can get you on the road to getting your card, and we can talk about how much it costs. If you're a veteran, disabled, senior, there's special pricing, so you get a special discount, and yeah, we'll work around your funds, and we'll get you your card, whatever it takes.
All right. Another service.
Awesome.
To help pay, and it's if it can cut weeks and weeks off of a person's time for getting a card, it should be considered. Lefty, you're back.
I'm back, and look who's here. Jason Arnold's here. Lighter side of Trenton.
Yes.
Jason.
What's up, Jason, I'm getting up. Why don't you come sit down?
Yeah, we want to talk to you.
Have a seat, man. You got the number 2 mic here.
What's going on, man?
Or do I have number 1 mic?
You're number 1.
All right.
You're always number 1, Jim. You're actually red. You're red mic. I'm blue mic. Jason Arnold. Good to see you, man. All right. Yes. Busy man.
Yes, I try.
We understand there's a Cannabash happening. We're opening the Cannabash here on the 420 on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Joint, there's a huge Cannabash.
Yes, sir.
And that's still going on, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
all weekend.
Good.
21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
Nice.
And matter of fact, the lights, the electricity, everything just got back on at the Joint today. So, everything's moving as it should. We're still on, still going.
Yeah, I got to thank everyone who donated some money to Ed and Debbie.
Yeah, most definitely. It wouldn't be, we still wouldn't be here without y'all, man. Thanks and appreciate all the support. Please don't let it stop. Like Ed Fortune always says, man, activism, it doesn't pay, it costs. Like everything, Lefty, everybody's doing out here, like it costs money out our pockets. Like it's a constant struggle, but it's something that always has to be done. Like the fight isn't ever going to stop. No matter what new laws they make up, however they change them, there's still going to be injustice done. So, stay tuned and stay supporting.
What do you think about what's happening to Ed Fortune right now?
Oh man, it's a travesty. Like he's basically just been kidnapped, and they're holding him without no ransom, like for no reason at all. They're just holding him, and this is what the law does, and they can shift it, change the laws however they want. To accommodate however they want to persecute somebody, and I mean, thank God for Ed. Like, he's really strong, he's really vocal, and he just won't stop. And that's what it takes. You got to keep on going until things change.
They let out gangbangers on bail. They let out rapists,
murderers, rapists.
Yeah.
You could get caught with 14, 15
kilos
of fentanyl.
That's what I was
Fentanyl.
just going to say. 14
Fentanyl.
kilos of fentanyl down in
He's there.
Camden. I think he got out.
Unbelievable.
He got out with like
man.
an ankle bracelet, I think.
Yeah, straight out. But that's the reality of it, you know?
And Ed's walking around in shackles. In shackles.
Yeah, he's coming into court in shackles. He's found not guilty on some petty little BS setup. What was it? Zoning violation.
Yeah, but that's the main thing that I'm waiting on. The trial for the all the 50, 60 tickets that they wrote to the joint, because that's where like all the intimidation, all the harassment, that's where everything originated from. So once we could get to that exact case, we're gonna blow them out the water. Like, everybody's gonna be devastated. I know everybody that used to be loyal to the joint, people that still supporters, like, I mean, everybody fell back because, I mean, either they felt like Ed was doing too much, saying too much, but like, he's right. I mean, regardless if he's, I mean, being a dick about it, if he's being an ass, whatever, right is right. So
it goes to show you, if you're speaking the truth, they will do anything to shut you up.
exactly, and the truth is never, I mean, just accepted initially off the bat. Like, once somebody, I mean, says something contrary to normal belief, like, it's always ridiculed, and it takes a while for people to accept it. But I mean, we here. It's not stopping no time soon.
They serving lunch at the joint today?
I wouldn't go that far.
Hey, it was worth a shot.
I mean, yeah, we still prepping. I don't know what chef got cooking up right now, but he's always working 24/7.
He's always got something good going on there.
Yeah, he might have something out on the grill in the backyard today. Hopefully so.
I'm trying to find Stephanie Katz's phone number. We should probably give her a call.
Give her a shout, see what's going on.
And that's when I get off the air.
Uh-oh.
No, you don't want to call her? That's the only time we can talk to her, because you can't get close to her because she smells.
I know there's a lot of people out there in podcast land, radio land, YouTube land that I mean, follow, watch, and hear everything that's going on. But what they don't know is Ed isn't the only one cased up. I mean, with all the things that have been going on at the joint.
Really?
So,
Oh, what's going on? What-
Yeah.
You got charges?
Yeah, I got charges.
What do you got charged with?
Oh, they got me with manufacturing like
What?
hashish or
What?
some shit, distributing marijuana.
But wait a minute.
Hashish.
What? That's a patient. So didn't a patient leave their hash there?
I really don't even know, because like, when I was inside the joint at the time, and I seen police moving around, I just ran, and like, whatever they found, like, I still don't know to this day, like, whatever I'm being charged with. So like, I put a gag order on myself. I mean, for a lot of things right now I can't even speak on.
My God.
So yeah, it's
So you're
real.
being charged with some random patient's medicine right now.
Yes, exactly.
Which is bullshit.
Exactly, yeah.
It could be Cindy's. It could be mine.
Anybody. This is an open public place.
What the?
Hey.
No,
hey,
put the black guy in jail, though. Don't put me and Cindy. No, get the black guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Low-hanging
man.
fruit. Get him in jail.
You know how I go.
Low-hanging
You know how I
fruit.
go.
Oh, my God.
Hey, on a better note, I've got some great news.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Please.
I actually I have a little
Disgusting.
surprise. This is supposed to be given to Ricardo because it's going to be passed on to the governor and everybody.
Okay.
This is court 2 days ago in Camden for decriminalization in Camden County, New Jersey.
Okay.
Ricardo and Chris Goldstein got this done. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
It was like a town hall meeting or something.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Did you see the video I put up?
Yeah, that's video.
This is the video.
I shared your video.
This is the videos. I'll tell you what, they know what they're doing, and they know how to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And as you heard, Camden County wants this done.
We need that in Trenton. Because
need it.
Trenton
You
is a
know,
mess, dude.
You know, Chris Goldstein brought up so many great points. Did you know that New Jersey has 3 times the national average for opiate overdoses?
Wow, I did not know that.
My friend just died in December looking
Yeah,
for trying to get cannabis.
I know multiple
And he
people
died from
who
heroin.
have lost their children to heroin and stuff. You know, and it's
But
a
Chris
shame.
Christie's an expert now, though. He's our expert. He's
yeah.
the guy, the go-to guy. He
Yeah.
won't even talk to us. The guy walks past us all 2 years.
Hey,
but he's the expert on everything.
Well, let me tell you something.
Fucking guy.
You know, I'm so dedicated to the cause, and yeah, I got the leaf here. My daughter did a tattoo on me, and the first day I went out with this, I walk into Wawa, and some, I'll say old lady, she was probably my age, but she looks at her granddaughter, and she goes, "Look at that, that's disgusting." And, you know, I didn't know what to say, but then this other woman, a black woman, had come up to me, and she goes, "Honey, you're beautiful." She goes, "Don't you let anybody be ignorant like that." She goes, she's ignorant for teaching her child to be prejudiced.
What did she look like? What did she look like?
You know, after she made that remark,
I would have been like, okay, let's see what you got a little chubby thing going on
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You got a tooth missing. You got
definitely.
You got a wandering eye over here.
Definitely,
Your
she had
hair's
a lot
out
going on.
Like, you know, let's go through the checklist here.
Right.
You
No,
want to pick on me?
It kind of just shocked me because it was my first time out with this tattoo.
People are
you know.
stupid.
And for her to teach her daughter that, you know,
That's what you should have said. You should have went to her daughter and
because,
said,
you
"Don't
know-
listen to mommy. She's stupid."
Well, not only that.
That's
you know,
what you say. And they'll live with the rest of
the
their life.
kid-
Her daughter will
the-
go through that
the
with her head.
kids
Mommy's stupid. Some weird lady told me that.
You know what? when you teach your kids that nature is illegal,
Oh,
well,
God, yeah.
then you're teaching your kids, you know, not to believe in anything that's going
Take
on. in this world.
OxyContin. Take Roxycodone.
Yeah.
The doctor says it's okay.
Or heroin, you know, or why don't you just take the Adderall like the doctors are giving to you? The what is it? Methamphetamines is what it is. They want everybody on speed so they can work and be productive. You know, the machine minds with the machine hearts, and you know, just get in line and be herd mentality. That's all they want us to do is be slaves and make the money.
Who was your arresting officer?
I do not even know. Like everybody was pretty much masked up. I didn't see anybody.
Yeah, that's like me. I didn't see that lady that said, "That's disgusting."
Yeah, it just blacked out.
Huh? What are you talking about? It's a plant. It's a
Disgusting.
You know, she probably thinks somebody with a devil tattoo.
Oh,
would
yeah,
be,
they love that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's an awesome tattoo. You know, but you get a life-saving plant that's, like, saved your life, or other people that you know saved their lives, and everybody wants to criticize you about it. It's just a shame that people are so brainwashed that they can't even educate themselves to the 21st century and realize that this is an organic plant that has medical properties. It's a healing herb. It's something you can grow in your garden like your vegetables, and you know, just like your vegetables and your food, you are what you eat. If you're putting crap in your body like GMOs, where you're not getting your nutrition and your minerals or vitamins, you're gonna end up with cancer. And people want so many things. Ricardo's daughter, she celebrated her 10th birthday, but yet if it was up to, you know, the pharmaceutical companies, they told her she
would have never seen 10.
She would have never seen 10. They gave her a life expectancy of 9 years.
And look at that, people.
Yeah, and look at that.
Just celebrated her 10th birthday.
She's ever been. She's smiling. She's acting like a normal kid. She's 100% better, it seems. It's like, you know, finally she gets to enjoy life, and it's a shame that people are still criticizing people, you know, for saving their families or saving their children, or getting themselves off deadly, harmful drugs that can cause so many problems, psychiatric problems besides everything.
Really is like what Anslinger established. Like it's almost like he got godlike abilities. I mean, all the stigmas and all the negativity that he threw out there about this plant, like how it's still surviving to this day. Like you have a plant, like one single plant, where it has over 200 beneficial uses. I mean, you could really use it for anything. Like this is one plant that humanity could actually sustain off just from this one plant. But
I think there's 700 uses.
700. Look at that. Over 700 uses.
Definitely. At least.
Lingerie I like a lot.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Housing material. We can
That
get
too.
some fuel. We can get food. We can get all kinds of omegas,
Soap,
omega-3,
lotion,
6, 9.
shampoos.
We need this stuff. This can help the economy. You know, it's really sad to see all the homeless people and all the people starving in New Jersey, all the people losing their houses, and you know, a war against a plant where they're taking people for just smoking a plant and not hurting anybody and they're ruining their lives. I mean, how is that justice when they're taking somebody and destroying their whole world? I mean, not only are they financially destroying them, emotionally destroying them, they're destroying
education, financial aid, license, being able to travel,
your
incarceration,
family,
everything.
your children, the way that your relatives will look at you. It's just like wrong. It has to be at least decriminalized.
At least.
At least.
Jason, who else was charged with you in there?
Like I said a couple minutes ago, I put a gag order on myself to talk about certain things.
Okay, but you weren't the only one charged. Other people.
Nah.
There was other
I
people
wasn't.
charged. Okay.
Yeah.
So they, black people, right?
Yeah,
all black people. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Now I read the papers. I heard 11 or 12.
Oh, that many?
Yeah.
Was it that many?
Nah.
No,
That's probably the first raid.
The first raid. I was talking about the first raid.
Yeah.
No, the second one.
This just happened.
I didn't hear about the second one.
Exactly. Nobody
Right.
really heard of it. It happened at the same time when they came and got Ed. I mean, when they was locking Ed up, they came to the joint, and everybody that was in the joint, they also incarcerated and charged with.
What if they were patients and legally
They don't
there?
care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Whoever was in there, we
Wow.
got charged. Yeah.
Wow, that's not right. So
And
you
I-
got charged for Ed's business being
Yeah,
a
just-
patient lounge. I
just
mean,
being in
basically.
You should let me call your prosecutor. I'll help you. We helped Anthony. They dropped his charges. They dropped them.
I saw that today. That's
because we
great.
put pressure on him, man.
Wow.
What they
Pressurize him.
actually charge you with?
That's my medicine, dude. You got charged with my medicine, dude. I'm gonna tell him. I'll tell him.
For real,
Well,
man.
wait, what'd you get? How much?
I don't even know. It didn't even say.
don't even
But
know.
It's ridiculous.
It was about 4 charges, and all of them was 3rd degree and 4th degree crimes. Like, I don't even think they knew what they were looking at or whatever. Like, once I seen my paperwork and it said hashish, I didn't know what they were
Wait,
talking about or what
how,
they found.
how did they find that? Did they just put well, I'm gonna charge this one with that, and I'm gonna charge that one with this, and then I'm gonna throw this one at that?
I believe we all got charged with everything. So I'm not even going to get into too much of detail
Yeah,
about that.
I wouldn't. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Well, listen, we got the Weed for Warriors girls coming on here. They would like to talk to us for a few minutes before we
Weed for
end.
Warriors.
Yeah, I love the Weed for Warriors project.
I love the Weed for. I've helped them out several times. We did
Jason,
the
hang
march
out,
and stuff.
This is your fiance, right?
Yeah. We got
I want you to just.
Yes.
None of that funny stuff.
What's going on? What? How are you?
I'm good.
What's your name? What are you doing here?
I'm Elle, and I'm a Weed for Warriors Project New Jersey chapter, and also Women Veterans Collective. So there's 2 groups that we started. They're for vets. Most of our vets have PTSD or problems with the VA, or they're on, opiate addictions. And we're growing. Tatiana is also,
Hi,
she's
Tatiana.
here.
Hello.
She's also a vet, and we're trying to get our Weed for Warriors project moving, like how it looks in Cali. Cali, they have like 50 to 100 members that come out to their meetings. We're not there yet. We only have about, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 15.
10 or 15 that consistently come. We have monthly meetings, usually the first Sunday of each month. And we're just trying to grow it and make the more people that know there are a lot of veterans in New Jersey. There are a lot of veterans that now, with the change of PTSD being added last year, are eligible in the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program, which is excellent, especially since the VA is known for not exactly taking care of that community.
Not at all.
Yes.
No. Oh my God. So, do you know Joey? Joey Lyons? Did you meet Joey Train?
Yeah, we know Joey.
Okay. Joey, get over here because we're gonna have veteran talk now. It's Weed for Warriors time. Have a seat. Have a seat because you're a veteran.
Over here, or if we can maybe get some more
And
chairs.
I want to know why veterans don't allow people like me in these groups. Why is that? Serious question.
Okay, so
What do you guys
so that
talk
was
about that I
well, that
can't
was a
deal with?
question. So the Weed for Warriors project. At first, I was having people come through that wanted to participate, as supporters of vets. But I thought it was kind of important for our group, at least initially, for us to gain trust with each other. We tell a lot of stories that even a lot of our vets. It's so windy. A lot of our vets also suffer from military sexual traumas, and we get into that at our meetings. Sometimes people are very open about their things, And sometimes it's just helpful if it's only vets to talk about this kind of stuff, you know.
The
And so
military sexual trauma. I'm not trying to cut
Yeah.
you off, but we know
Yeah.
people that have been affected by
Me
that
too.
off
Yeah.
on CMMNJ
Yeah.
who had military sexual trauma.
What is it
and
with the
it's
military
awful.
and that? Is that a lot?
Well,
Is that a
Absolutely.
problem? Yeah,
It's-
it seems to be a lot.
Rampant.
A lot. Yeah, rampant.
Iraq and
There's certain-
Afghanistan, rampant.
There are certain things in the military community that affect us disproportionately as opposed to the civilian population, such as the opioid addiction with the VA. The VA overprescribes they're four times more likely to prescribe opiates than a civilian that's going for the same, bad back or same injury.
Facts.
The amount of prescriptions that some of the veterans are taking would put a terminally ill patient, down, as opposed to cannabis isn't looked at. We can't get recommendations from the VA. Most doctors.
You can't?
No.
They won't give them to you.
No, absolutely not. There's no VA doctors that
Really?
can write you a cannabis. If you were going to be enrolled in whatever state's medical marijuana program, the VA does not endorse that.
Yep.
So you would have to go to outside provider with your own money, or let's say if you have another health insurance or something like that, where a lot of vets, people get out. Sometimes the transition into civilian life isn't as easy as it might be for others. Sometimes there's a financial burden when you go from
Huge. I can attest to that
active duty-
personally.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. There's a big shock when you come out in the civilian world and you're in this microcosm where
You've been
things don't affect
brainwashed.
you. Well, not only that, the 1st to 15th, TRICARE, things like that, where you're like thrusted into adulthood. And for people that joined and enlisted when they were 17, 18, they have two enlistments. They get out 8 years later and they've never signed up for civilian health insurance, much less going into any other aspects of, oh, well, how do I get a job? How do I get things with benefits? How do I, you're just not prepared for that. They give you classes and briefings like that at the end of your enlistment, but it's just like I said, there's things that affect the civilians disproportionately, and there's things that affect veterans disproportionately.
Yeah, and I actually asked, because at first when we started the group, we said that anybody could come, as supporters. And at one of our meetings, we spoke about it, and we kind of asked, what does everybody feel as a group? Should we let, civilians in or whatever? And everybody kind of just wanted it to be a vet group, because there's not really anything like that for us, for vets that are cannabis supporters, and we can talk about PTSD and, stuff like that. So that's why, we kept it. For vets only.
Just curious.
And it's more like a VFW experience as opposed to, and nobody's drinking warm beer for $2 instead.
So
of
is this a
sitting there
fraternal
enjoying-
organization? Can you get a membership to this organization? Like you can get a VFW membership. Can you get a membership to Weed for Warriors?
We're working that out right now.
Yeah.
This is new out here, especially
I would
on
love
the
to
East
help.
Coast.
I can help start a fraternal organization. I actually know how to do it. I've been working
Well,
on it.
we're already a 501c. It's a
Okay.
national organization. We're just a chapter, a part of the national.
So you guys are see, this is what I'm trying to learn. Is that
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Weed for Warriors. That's why I'm asking you guys questions. You know, and you guys as subject matter
Yeah,
experts.
like I said, they're a national 501c, and we're just a chapter, a chapter under that.
And there are a lot of experiences and people being at something like this where we can pull from, because right now you guys have laid the blueprint for cannabis prohibition ending for years, and you've been working on that. We're coming with a different angle, saying we're veterans. We should have access to medical cannabis in New Jersey
For free.
For free.
We've been working on that prohibition as well. When we were enlisted, when we signed that contract, enlisted officers, we were defending our people like Lefty Grimes, who was working for us while we were wearing a uniform, while we couldn't speak, while we couldn't speak out, while we couldn't do different things like that. We had people like Lefty Grimes.
You can't speak when you're in the military? You can't?
Hell no.
What?
It's called Uniform Code of Military Justice, and
You ain't
there
never
are
heard
probably
of
some
it?
articles that would make this against the rules.
So if you said cannabis should be legal, in the brig for you, really?
I don't know about the brig. You're going to get a talking to. So, in accordance with...
Or you're going to get drug tested.
Yeah, but that's fine. In my line of field, I was an aircraft mechanic. I would be drug tested periodically. We're constantly under investigations for planes
Well,
being
you
messed
go to
up.
flight medicine, you go to a whole different... You guys are under a different program. I was just a regular enlistee.
What were you, Navy,
You were a
Air
service
Force? What?
I was active duty Air Force for
Air
4
Force?
years, and then I went into the Army Reserves, switched
Yeah.
it out
Oh, okay.
for 4 years. So have two different experiences.
Okay.
Very different.
Yeah, I bet.
But just the same, we all wear the uniform, whether you're Navy, Marines, we all go through.
Coast Guard too now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all go through things, and we all have similar experiences.
Yeah.
So that's what makes Weed for Warriors such an amazing group, because a lot of people don't have that when they get off of active duty, or if they were a guard or reserve.
Yeah.
They don't get to hang out with people that they can have the same talk with. I can have an acronym talk with
anybody that served it, at least out of 2 of the 5 branches.
How many people are in Weed for Warriors now?
We
as
probably
an
have
organization?
for the New Jersey chapter, we probably have about 15 vets that consistently come through.
What about as the chapter as a whole?
I couldn't.
We don't
even,
have those
I
national
don't,
numbers.
Yeah, it's
Nationally,
big
are
though.
they represented in 50 states? Are they in every state?
No.
So we need to get people. We need to get Weed for Warriors in every state.
And
and that's the thing. They have a website. It's WFWP. .org, I believe. WeedForWarriorsProject.org. If you search that, I know they're always looking for people to start chapters. It's not really, that hard. The hardest part of starting a chapter is finding a location, and we've been out of the NJ Weedman's joint. Thankfully, that's how we were able to start our chapter, by having a space where, a cannabis sanctuary for, vets to come. And that's also what I was trying to do, is combine the two, to say, look, we do have this cannabis sanctuary. So, most of our vets that come are medical marijuana patients, but it's not a requirement. And we can also help people become medical marijuana patients if that's something that, that
and
vets
disseminate
want to do.
information.
Yeah.
That's
So you
the
need
main
more
goal.
sanctuaries, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We
you have
definitely
another
need more-
sanctuary now. There's a sanctuary in Pemberton. All right, welcome to cannabis patients that are veterans. Welcome to veterans who are not yet cannabis patients. It's basically my house, my garage that I just cleaned out. I've got a nice backyard we can grill up.
I think we've all smoked in a
we've
garage
got-
a time or two.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
I don't think
setting
anybody
it up.
would be
Like,
against that.
it's just, I don't know if you would want to host an event like that at a house, but if we
That
want to talk
works.
about that offline, I would love
Yeah.
to have an event like that where we could be comfortable, we can grill it up. I've got kids, right? So sometimes it's, I don't like to do stuff like crazy in front of the kids, but usually we'll get babysitters so we can have events that are non-kids, or we can have events that are kid-friendly where, maybe we are using cannabis, maybe we're not, but even it's like, because I got rooms in the house that I've specifically dedicated to cannabis use that are like non-kid use. So even if there's nothing outside of that room, like in a
We
little
can talk
sanctuary
about
room. Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is I would love to have an event, and I think there's people out there who should be having these events, hosting these events. Even let me ask you this: what if there was a non-veteran willing to host an event?
Absolutely.
Okay, so non-veteran people that are for the cause, they can
not
host
like we're-
events. People can
it's not
cater
an
these events.
exclusatory-
People can
No, we're not.
market these events.
Yeah,
but we're not hiding
We're
these
not
events,
excluding
right?
anybody from
Okay.
helping, and we're all the sativa. We're all fighting towards the same goal of cannabis legalization, and
that's what Weed for Warriors is also about. I've been, part of the medical marijuana side for a while. I went to help vets because I realized, I didn't know how bad it was with vets. I thought it was just me going through certain vet issues until I met other vets. I really didn't know any other vets until starting the Weed for Warriors project. And then I met a few vets through the High Times Veterans Roundtable that was last year, and that kind of opened up a lot of doors. Like, wow, through a lot of stuff, and we're all kind of going through the same things, and why?
Yes.
And how do we fix that? So
And
it's
the same
not
roadblocks.
Yeah, so it's part legalizing cannabis. It's part cannabis is medicine, but it's also, there's a lot of other issues with homelessness and the
Oh
opioid
my
addiction,
God.
and we're going through a lot of stuff, and nobody is really
veteran employment. People
Everything.
offering.
Oh my God.
A lot of
Everything.
companies getting tax breaks up to $10,000 for hiring veterans. Now that I don't know if you've gotten a job recently, but you go through and the first thing they ask is race, gender, and then they have to ask you to self-identify whether you're combat wounded, whether you get a VA check, things like that. There are companies that make a lot of money off of this, and they don't give anything back to the veterans. They just hire and they fulfill their quotas, and they say, okay, now we've hired this many veterans, so we're good.
And there's also a lot of organizations that are collecting donations on behalf of vets that actually don't use the donations for vets. So this is an organization, like, anything that we get, we put back in. Not that we have gotten anything yet. So if anybody would like to send us money, that would be cool.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
donations or food. Like I said, we meet once a month. It doesn't have to be, marijuana. It doesn't have to be
No.
that. It could be
Cookies,
papers.
chips.
It could be anything that anybody
Yeah,
would like to donate
t-shirts,
to our group would be
flyers.
awesome.
Absolutely.
So
Because we do recognize the legality aspect of it, and it is what it is for the time that it is.
So you guys said a bunch of things that I was writing down because I didn't want to interrupt you. There's a couple things that I wanted to touch back with. You mentioned about the medicine that the VA gives, the pharma meds that have been prescribed. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook yesterday, and basically we were talking about the meds that we use, open conversation in front of anybody, and I started listing off the medicines that I use, and I said, holy shit, I'm well over 12, and that's just what I can remember off the top of my head. I can remember 6 others that I can't remember the name of, and then if I start digging through my medical records, so I was like, holy shit. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that when I said that. It was SH1T, which is actually an organization. So it's not a bad word, but I apologize for that. So I had to take, one of the things was mefloquine back in 2009. When I was going to Afghanistan, I had to take mefloquine, which is anti-malaria drugs. Yeah, the side effects from that. So now they say that I have PTSD. They've been telling me since 2012 I have PTSD. I don't know sometimes because I'm so whacked out in my head. I don't know if maybe I'm affected from this mefloquine, but I would love to talk to you guys more about medicine.
And the vaccines also, the anthrax vaccine with the Gulf War
Oh, forget
syndrome,
about
as
it.
we call it. It didn't just end with the Gulf War.
I've had it.
We've had veterans. I've seen my shot records, and I've seen the same batch in the same company that
Let's
was
get some
giving
shot records, Lefty. Why don't we bring some shot
I
records
have
on the show?
You had to take what? Anthrax vaccine?
Yeah, all of us have had anthrax
Series
vaccines.
Series
Yeah.
of
What?
vaccines.
The
series of different vaccines.
I have
I mean,
a picture of mine. When I
Whip it
saw
out.
it.
It is Whip It
It
Out
was,
Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whip them out Wednesday. or
Why
something?
It's
not?
Thursday,
You guys-
Joey.
Oh, yeah.
It's Thursday.
Why not?
I must be losing my mind. But while she's looking that up, you also talked about.
And also there's.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
This is
excuse me.
crazy.
But you talked about kids not being ready for reality, right? So I joined the military when I was 18 because I recognized as a kid that I was not ready for reality. That is why I joined the military.
Same. I went in at 17. I was in basic. I turned 18 in basic, and I just wanted to get away from home. So I find that a lot of problems that we're having as vets is that a lot of vets went into the military because we didn't know what else to do. We couldn't go to college. We didn't feel like there was opportunity for us. We were escaping things from our home, our childhoods, whatever the case may be. So then we go into a safety net of being a vet, and they tell you exactly what to do, what time to wake up. This is what you're going to eat. Everything is taken care of. And then that ends. So then what do? Now we're back into this world that we don't know how to handle. And like Tatiana said, a lot of times when you get out of the military, you don't know how to do anything, how to make a doctor's appointment.
Did you guys go through TAP, the transition assistance?
Yeah, but that's a joke.
And I went through it with a couple
I would disagree with
lieutenant
you on that.
colonels. I went through it with senior NCOs that had.
They get better programs. They get a
Exactly.
different TAP. They actually have a completely separate transition.
Well, it transitions them into executive programs and things like that for their rank. I got out the first time. I was a special. I was a senior airman. I was at E4. I got out the first time, and I had a security clearance. I had things like that, and even so, I went back to New Jersey, my hometown, and I wasn't offered anything besides an admin assistant. And I was the one that was sitting there.
If you're not willing to rock a gun and go back overseas for 12 months.
I don't want to do mercenary work for KBR or any of those other companies.
Oh, Blackwater,
so I was pretty
KBR,
much,
all of them.
So I was pretty much. That
Trenton
really
Rel
wasn't
is
the-
calling. I don't know why, but
really wasn't the avenue I wanted to take, but like I said, the limited options after, and then there's so much time. Like I said, it is a transition. Everybody goes through that once you get off active duty, where it's like, wow, okay, I can't just go to the doctor if I feel a little sick, or I can't just do that. On top of whatever you experienced while you were there, whether you were deployed or not, that's not a prerequisite for Weed for Warriors. No one cares about your overseas time or where you were, but just that you wore the uniform. And now that we're all in the same boat going through the VA, whether you're trying to get a rating, whether you're trying to get a disability check, things like that. And a lot of people are on a straight, a different budget, because you might get out with a few kids, a wife, a husband, things like that. And once again, they just kind of throw you out there, and it's unfortunate.
So you talk about how the military does everything for you, and they train you, and they put you through all these classes, but they don't really get you ready necessarily for civilian life. But let's talk about before the military. So I went to public school, just like everybody else. I actually did 6 years of private school, and then the rest of it was public school. And in the public school system, I didn't learn about anything that I needed to know to live my life. I'm going to quote Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine when he said, "Europe ain't my rope to swing on. Can't learn a thing from it, yet I hang from it." And end quote. But realistically, I believe in that, because I didn't need to learn about Europe when I was in school. I would like to have learned about how to take care of myself, how to protect myself, how to start a bank account, how to apply for a job, how to, have actual real skills aside from I'm not saying that woodworking isn't a real skill, but wood shop, you know what I mean? That was offered to me. I could have been a woodworker, or I could have tried to learn how to do a car, and I was never good at that stuff. I tried it, but I just wasn't good at it. But that was what I had in front of me as an opportunity. I didn't have an opportunity. I didn't have a learn how to be an adult class.
Our public school system is more aimed towards making factory workers and people that can do manufacturing jobs. It hasn't changed, and that's another subject. But
I wonder who controls the school systems. I wonder who controls what we learn as kids. Huh, that's so weird.
Who? Who's you? Who?
I'm gonna do my ugly laugh.
As far as I don't know if you know Ken Myers on Facebook. Ken Myers out of Washington. He is a service-connected disabled combat veteran, and he is constantly spreading the word, just nonstop knowledge on Facebook and whatever else he does. I don't know, Twitters, Instagrams, whatever social medias. I don't really get into that stuff. I kind of hate it. I like Facebook because I can actually talk to like real people. Yeah, it's a necessary evil. But so Ken Myers is constantly talking about cannabis and how it affects different medicines, how it affects different conditions, PTSD, melanoma, how topical oils can work, how suppositories can work, how he talks about all these different ways that you can consume cannabis, not necessarily having a psychoactive effect, because that's not what we're all here for. Like, right. I can tell you the truth. I've had my card since November, I think. Prior to that, for at least 2 years, I was consuming cannabis illegally, and I haven't gotten high since I was 15. You know what I mean? I remember one of the first couple times I consumed cannabis. I did it by myself in one of the laundromats in an apartment complex I grew up in North Jersey. I went back, kind of ran to my room, aside from my grandma, and I just giggled my little head off. And it was just the funnest thing, and I didn't even really know what was going on. I just thought it was awesome, and I haven't felt like that since. And I'm not chasing that dragon. I'm not trying to get high. I'm trying to use this cannabis so that I can become a better person, so that I use it as a performance-enhancing drug. Like, honestly, I use it before I work out, before I play hockey. Like, I consume cannabis. I'll rip dabs, and then I'll bust out 50 push-ups. And then I'll rip another dab, and then I'll bust out 60 push-ups. And then I'll do some pull-ups. And I just go nuts with it. And I mean, that's for me. So, like you talk about it as well as the legalization aspect of it. So, like, I've talked to a lot of patients who are not for legalization necessarily. They want their cards, and it seems like they're living in fear, which to me is false evidence appearing real. It's this idea that the government truly does own us and that they can control us. And we don't want to push back. We don't want to push them, because if we do that, then we're going to end up locked up all night like Edward Fortune, because that's what happens, and it's absolute insanity in my mind. But my mind is insanity, apparently, in accordance with what the VA has to say. My mind is just a pool of insanity, and it's really frustrating. But also, homeless veterans employment. I don't know if you guys know about in South Jersey. I believe it's Winslow, the Veterans Haven. Have you guys ever heard of the Veterans Haven?
I've never heard
I do clothing drives for the Veterans Haven. It is homeless veterans. It's like a dormitory style place for homeless veterans to go in Winslow, New Jersey. It's not a nice type of dorm. Like, it's not nice. It's not a great
most
place.
of them.
Yeah. It is. Their local VFW one year raised $5,000, got them new air conditioning units. They have like needle exchange programs, because it's like those type of veterans, like people that are struggling with drug addiction, people that don't have any money. Like what I used to do when I worked for a bank, this particular bank I worked for. This is how I found out about it. Like, we would go there and offer them, for the bank, they wanted to offer them solutions because they wanted to get bank accounts and stuff. When I went there, I didn't even have anything to sell them. So I was just there purely like, I want to help these people. You know what I mean? And I would talk to them. I'd talk to them for an hour or two, doing basically credit repair seminars, talking to them about how you can repair your credit, how you can get into a position, how you can apply for a bank account, how you can apply for a job. Let me help you with your resume. Let me help you talk to these people. Maybe I can help you get a job here. Maybe I can help you get a job there. If you want to get back into the workforce, maybe I can help you get the care that you need, because these people have nobody to help them whatsoever, and I can't help all of them. Like, I just don't have the time. I have to feed my kids before anybody, before anything else. I have to feed my kids. You know what I mean? I would love to be at the Veterans Haven every single day. Like, it brings tears to my eyes, honestly. Like, just the memories, like the haunting memories that I have from Iraq and Afghanistan are not nearly as haunting as the memories of being in Winslow, New Jersey, at the Veterans Haven, because it's absolutely awful. But that's pretty much what's going on, you know, with veterans. And you talk about veterans employment, like the transition assistance, right? So, like, it helped me. Like, I would disagree with you on that, because
I also was in way before you.
Oh.
I was out prior to 9/11.
Really?
Yeah. So it's it's different. Like,
those programs
different.
They didn't have the same.
It's not the same.
I thought you were younger than me.
No.
So I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, like. Honestly, I pegged you for like 24, 25, just like an awesome girl. Like, because I don't know you that well, Laura. Honestly, we're just meeting each other. Like, we're learning each other. I'm learning stuff about you every day. I'm learning more. So I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm coming across like, I should know this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I apologize.
So I went in at 97. Like I said, right out of high school, you know, and I was out right before 9/11. So I got out in July, right before 9/11 happened. So it's a little different. Like, pre 9/11 vets fall under a whole different category.
I'm so sorry then. Let me apologize to you when I said I disagree with you about TAP, because you're right. We had two completely different TAPs. So I'm sorry about that.
And also with the VA, there's the OEF program. They have their own case managers. That's something that not all the veterans have access to.
I think too that a lot of vets don't understand what programs they have access to. Like a lot of vets get out, and I think they don't even realize that they can use the VA.
Yes.
Like that's a big thing. Not that the VA is great, but it's something.
It's something.
It's
Get you by.
something.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, it's an emergency room if you need it. Like I was out of the military for probably like 7 years before I had no insurance and I didn't know I could use the VA. And somebody said, "No, you can go." And I was like, "What do you mean I can go? It wasn't combat. What do you mean?" They're like, "No, that's part of your package. You can have that." So I don't know. Like there just has to be a better way to get this information out. And like I said, I hope We for Warriors can help kind of do that too. Even if it's as we can help get your DD-214, we can help you get on My Healthy Vet. We can help you connect. We have a doctor now that has agreed to work with us and is going to give discount, for vets. So.
All right, real quick. So, okay, 6-step problem solving process. The first step is identify a problem. You have identified a problem. Veterans and civilians, people in this country, breathing people, veterans and non-veterans, need better health care. They need something that they're not getting. And I can attest to like a lot of the mental health care that you can get is just, it's not there. It's just not sufficient.
It's dismal.
So we've got a problem. We have to come up with a solution. I need to come up with a way. Like one of the things that I'm going to add to this thing that I'm building is going to be some kind of veteran care. And I'm not suited to repair a broken bone. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if there's veterans out there that need to use cannabis and for whatever reason have this kind of barrier to success or that kind of barrier to success, I'm going to help them any way that I can. Basically, I want people to identify, like if they identify themselves as struggling for whatever reason. So this is why, like, I don't usually take military discounts in all honesty, because if I go into a store, like I try not to take a military discount. Like sometimes I'm hurting, I'm going to ask for, a 10% discount or 5%, because if they're offering it, whatever, if I'm like hurting. But I try not to ask for it because I feel like if I can afford it, I want to pay the full price, especially if it's like local business. I try to only shop at local business, stuff like that. I don't want the discount because I want to support what they're doing. But there's people out there who might not be like me. Like I grind, I work hard. I've got a full-time job. Like I bust my ass to feed my kids and try to provide, a better than average lifestyle for them. And so I can probably pay a full price for a sandwich. You know what I mean? I don't need to go into a shop and have somebody who is a small business be like, "Oh, you're a combat veteran, dude. Here, this food's on me." Like, thank you so much.
I find that so
but
rare, though, Joey. I mean,
let
truth
me
be
pay
told,
for it.
a veteran discount, like where? Who?
Oh, they're everywhere.
I can get my little.
I don't
just
know.
gotta ask.
I can get my little chicken.
Well, this is
Applebee's
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you just mentioned Applebee's. Applebee's is a conglomerate across the country.
I
You're
know
talking
that for
about Walmart,
Veterans Day,
Target,
but like
all these people. Yeah. But you know where you go if you shop local. If you shop local and you support small business, you will get discounts if you want them.
Trenton.
I don't know about Trenton. I
Yeah.
don't frequent Trenton, honestly.
I'm just saying, like I think that I don't know. Yeah, I
would
get
love
what you're saying,
And
but
then if I'm wrong, like, because this is from my personal experience, if other people are not finding experience, then it needs to be changed, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, and to get the word out that I didn't know an organization. I found out about We for Warriors just through Instagram, looking a few years ago, and I saw the movement that they were creating. I saw what they were doing. They would go to Washington. They would have they had, I think on Veterans Day last year, the year before last, everybody brought their pill bottles from the VA and dumped it out in front of the White House. Things like that.
I'd love to do that. I have a multicolored uppers, downers, screamers, laughers, all these different jokes.
That was great.
But I was watching that. I was watching that from here. I was watching from the East Coast. I think at the time I might have been in Maryland, and I was watching that. I was like, that's amazing. Like just to witness that, that's awesome. To have that kind of community and to have that kind of fellowship with your peers. That, like I said, maybe you don't talk to vets on a regular basis. After you don't have anybody you can talk to and say, let's talk about such and such, and how was your deployment, and where'd you go, and there's not that fellowship, and that's something that We for Warriors has created, and that's something that I'm glad that we have in New Jersey. But a lot of people don't know. A lot of veterans, even if they did know, are they able to leave their house? Would they feel comfortable in a social environment, in a place they don't know?
that's true. And we do have a lot of vets that we stay in contact with that can't come to the meeting yet. They're just not in their, in their healthcare, in their own minds. They can't leave the house. So we have vets, and we've been talking about, like, we want to start, like, doing, like, home visits and, like, going and talking to these vets and try to, like, help them get out of the house.
Smoke
Because
them up.
sometimes, yeah, that's the plan. that's the plan.
I'm sure that everybody that's watching, Edward Fortune, who is unfortunately locked up right now, is a veteran.
Yeah,
he served
I know,
his country.
and that's another
Peaceful
thing I would
man.
say. So Ed is one of my mentors. Like, he actually was the first person I met in the movement that he taught me a lot of, like I said, a lot of people don't agree with how he does it, but
Who? Name one.
Stephanie Katz. No, but I'm just.
No. We have a song about her. We have a song about Stephanie Katz.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
we
do.
don't. No, we don't.
What
is this
We
song
don't.
about pooping on the face?
Y'all do?
Somebody
No,
does.
But
I don't know.
mean,
think this
a lot of people don't agree with how he does it, and holding signs in the street say "fuck the police" and whatever. But he's still effective.
I like that.
In the way that he does. He gets the word out. So I would say too, for the state of New Jersey, he's probably the most publicized activist that we have. He makes the papers, he makes the news, he makes national news, international news. So
I gotta go. I gotta bounce. Sorry about that. I know it's mid sentence, but
I want to play a song with you,
Are you-
Joey. Can't we do a song together?
Are you doing
I gotta
the
roll.
Cat song?
Let's do the Stephanie Katz song.
No,
Right,
I'm gonna leave on that.
Come on.
I gotta go. I got stuff I gotta do today.
Joey.
I shouldn't even be.
I think we're all gonna leave you now.
No, never mind. Forget the Stephanie Katz song.
I gotta go, dude. Like I'm supposed to be
Forget
gone
it.
like a long time ago.
Won't do it.
I love you guys. Mad love to Sativa Cross. Mad love to Weed for Warriors, everybody. If y'all want to connect with me, hit me up on Facebook, Joey L. Train. Lefty. Love you, man.
Love you. Be good.
Take care.
All right, ladies.
Philippe, will you fill in our veterans chair?
Yes. Thank
Philippe.
you for having us. Thank you for letting us get this out.
Thank you.
They're very
Thank
nice
you guys.
meeting
I really appreciate you guys coming on. And
May 8th is our next is a Weed for Warriors rally in
Right.
it's DuPont Circle in Washington. It's going to be 12 o'clock. So whoever wants to go out, vets, non-vets,
Awesome.
anybody that supports this movement.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Is there a website, weedforwarriors.com or something?
Yeah,
or-
it's wfwproject.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we also have an Instagram. It's standby.
Instagram. I love
we have a-
Instagram.
I have to find it.
I have
first.
Snapchat. I have Facebook.
We're trying.
I have MySpace.
Don't run off yet either,
Oh.
so we can talk to our next guest briefly.
Oh,
Unless you're
yeah,
hurrying
yeah.
off somewhere.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, don't look like it's the getting to go mode.
No,
Stand
no.
by.
I canceled the song. I canceled
All right,
it.
anyway. Yeah,
We're
this
not
is
doing the song. I'd rather talk about
It'll continue our old veteran segment here.
Okay, and the Instagram is WFWP_NJ. I'll say that again. That's Whiskey Foxtrot, Whiskey Papa _ November Juliet. Thank
Oh,
you.
the veteran talk here. Now I get it. That's how you guys talk in code.
That's how we do it.
Okay. All right. What do you call us non-veterans? Like you call
Civilians.
Besides, what's the slang?
Assholes.
Oh, there you go. All right. What else? Give me the list.
Dicks. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
People with way too much college loan debt that I don't have.
Landlubbers. I don't know. What do you call them, Phil?
We were gonna stop at civilians.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Thank you.
Oh man. Well.
What's good, Lefty? How you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, Laura.
How are you, Phil?
Good. How's everything?
Well, probably not good for any of us. I mean, we all have horrible stories about the weed man sitting in jail right now in friggin' chains, and we're out here smoking weed, and he's in chains for smoking weed, and he has cancer. And the judge thinks he's gonna smoke weed when he gets out. That's why he's in there.
I don't want
What?
to. I don't want to portray what's going on in the cannabis and everything like that, because like you could really add it into that, but what was done is already done, and I think he already knew what he did, and he knew what he was gonna get himself into. So I just said to it as like, if we're gonna talk about cannabis, let's talk about cannabis. If we're gonna talk about NJ women being in jail, let's just talk about NJ women and being in jail. But let's not put the two together, because the two together doesn't really go together. Because he, like I told you, he knows exactly what he did, and he knows exactly where he was gonna go, and he's not a dumb person. So if we're gonna talk about the NJ women, we're gonna talk about it. If we're gonna talk about cannabis, we're gonna talk about cannabis. But what we're not gonna do is sit here and put the two together, because it doesn't mix. Should be honest.
Why doesn't
That's
it
just
mix?
me.
Why doesn't it mix?
You know why it doesn't mix. I know why it doesn't mix. I don't have to say why it doesn't mix. You want to talk politics? I'll talk politics with you.
Yeah. Let's do that.
That's not. Because you're not ready. If you want to be honest, you're not ready.
I'm not?
I'm a veteran. If
I'm
you want
ready.
to be nah, you're not. You like making jokes. I like being honest.
All right, let's be honest.
Nah, let's not.
I make jokes to hide the pain.
I'm being honest with you on that. Let's not be honest. You don't want me to be honest with you.
No, I make jokes to hide the pain, but
I'll be honest to not show the pain and to let people know there is no pain. Because if you make jokes to hide the pain, you're holding a lot of stuff in. It's not healthy for you, buddy.
this is true. I'm not a healthy person. I'm the first to admit I'm not a healthy person, physically or mentally. I'm a fucking mess.
Sorry to hear that.
But I deal with it, and I'm here every I'll be here every Thursday, fighting,
I would too.
No matter what.
I would too.
I feel like shit, but I'm here.
I would too. I'll be here in Boston, New Jersey. The stuff that I'm doing with Mr. Miller on the side for veterans. I'm dissing the marijuana, the extra stuff. So I'll be here on top of that. So at the end of the day, I feel your pain. I'm part of that headache.
I know you
I ain't
are.
gonna give up. So what are you trying to say?
Now you're up in Massachusetts now?
I go back and forth, yeah.
Okay. So you're taking care of your medicine up there now?
Nah,
Which is
I'm
good.
helping out the veterans out there too.
And you're helping veterans?
Yeah, with the stuff that I did out here, and I'm gonna do some marijuana,
Mhm.
cannabis. So I'm gonna do that stuff out there in Massachusetts as well.
Mhm.
I'm getting very well connected out there, so
A lot of suffering out there, man.
there's a lot of veterans out everywhere. So
Mhm.
can't just stop in Jersey.
No. But New Jersey's a mess, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after Christie get out of office.
Are you voting in New Jersey this year?
Do I vote? I didn't vote for the presidency. I'm not voting for anybody. At the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that is my opinion. I'm keeping it on myself. Because at the end of the day, if there's something that I don't like, I will take care of it. I will start something, I will take care of it. I would not be a person that's going to sit here and keep talking about it and let it continue going on and stuff. So, no, I'm not going to be voting. Are you going to be voting?
I vote.
That's good. Hey, Jessi.
I'm voting for Joe Rullo.
Who is Joe Rullo?
He's a Republican. An outsider. He's an outsider.
Yeah, I'm in Massachusetts right now from time to time. Yeah.
And Joe
Yeah.
Rullo is he wants to legalize cannabis in New Jersey.
Okay.
So, yeah.
As a Republican?
Yeah.
So it's a fresh view, right?
It's the opposite of Phil Murphy, who's an insider, Wall Street guy. You want a Wall Street guy in there?
A yes person.
Yeah, we don't want that. So yeah, I'm going to vote for Joe Rullo.
Okay.
Just because.
Just because you like Joe Poole.
And he comes on the show, so I like him.
Yeah, when was the last time he was here?
Just before, a couple hours ago, he was on the show.
Oh, today?
He was on today. Joe Rullo.
Wow.
You better vote for him.
That was an invite from you too, right?
Yes, it was.
Cool.
Now, William, you're a vet too.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm not.
I thought you fought in Vietnam.
No, I did not.
Didn't we have an argument that you fought in Vietnam?
No, we never had an argument on Vietnam.
Yes, I called you.
No,
I said, kill a county
Stop.
Tsunami, and you said yes. Weren't you in Vietnam? We had a fight about this.
No, you had a fight by yourself.
You're right, but all right. I'll review the tape. I'm going to review the tape.
It doesn't matter. You can manipulate anything and justify
Jesus
anything,
Christ.
okay? Let's stop that. You're not the host of the show because you don't have those talents. Stop. Please stop.
Oh my God, it's getting real.
Everybody's picking on me today.
No,
I'm not Lefty.
Everyone is exposing you.
Oh, wow.
But he got an award. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Eat this.
Video
Suck on my
Video
award. Put that in your
excellence.
mouth and suck
Excuse
on
me,
it.
excuse me.
And then put it somewhere else.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Me sucking on your award or
Okay.
sticking it up my ass or come through my nose doesn't make any sense to me. Number one. Number two, I recognize.
I didn't say stick it up your butt.
Listen,
so
I-
you're a sick man.
No,
You're
no,
a very
no.
sick person making up sick things in my mind.
no.
I didn't say that. You thought it, but I didn't say it. You're a sick person. Sicko.
I love the way you spun that.
I didn't spin shit.
Yes,
You
you
watch.
did.
Watch me spin.
I just did.
Watch me pivot.
We just saw it.
Whoa.
What everybody doing for 420 next week?
We'll be right here.
Yeah.
You know what?
Podcasting.
We couldn't get our permit for across the street.
Yeah, I know.
So we're here now.
I know, because it's some. I told you I come here with Mr.
Yeah,
Miller, we
they
do
can
stuff on the
control
side.
here.
They're doing constructions.
That's
They
what
have more control
Yeah,
here.
That's what they say.
No, they don't. They don't want the gathering at the War Memorial.
We can't see Kavanagh Christie when he comes to work anymore either. We're cut off. We're totally isolated from everything.
I feel like that's part
No,
of
no.
the reasons, too.
Maybe what we need to do is spin up the back streets and do a little tour around. Do a donut. I mean, I don't know.
Or we could just have somebody just stage out on the front from time to time. Just we could do like ex-military tactics.
Yeah,
We
scout.
could
If
take
I'm from
shifts
above
on the
looking
guard
down, I
shifts.
can corral you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Treat you like cattle.
Well, Phil, I'm glad to see and hear you're helping veterans.
That's fabulous.
Because they should be getting weed for free. For real. For free.
Well, no, they should be getting the medication they need for free, yes.
Whatever they need for free.
But did you hear about the condition? in the Veteran Hospital in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
No, for real. Today,
I know.
Today.
What happened? What'd you hear?
Oh, my God.
What'd you hear?
They were talking about the dirt, trying to do surgery, blah, blah, can't do that.
Oh, surgery dirt?
No, it was against everything to even be open.
I'm not surprised.
Violations across the file system.
Are you surprised? People are setting themselves
Yeah.
on fire. They're burning themselves in front of the VA. There's a problem. Major issues. And we need people like Phil.
That have
helping.
been ignored and kicked to the curb for years.
William, we're going to end the show in a minute, but I want to ask you a question. We're working on your mom's book.
Right.
And I know you're having a hard time with your chapter that you have to work on. And you talked about dictating some of it. Now, we're here pretty much by ourselves.
No, I understand that, but I don't think excuse me, I don't think this is a show issue, and I will not participate in it on the show.
Okay, because it's going to be a public book anyway. It's going to be out in the public, and I want to help you get through this.
And I appreciate that, and I love the support, need the support.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I want to get this done.
What do you think you're the only one? Dude, that's all I want. This is on the front burner with me. This ain't on sitting on the back burner waiting for a day or a moment.
All right. I know you're having a problem writing your chapter, and I want to just help you. If I have to help you.
I appreciate that. And of course, listen, if need be, I will get on the phone and bounce it off you.
Because I got issues. And I can help you. I got issues, dude. You want to talk about issues? I got issues.
I'm sure together.
I just cried the other day. My mother calls me up on the phone, right? My mom says, Grandma comes to visit me. I'm like, what do you mean Grandma comes to visit you? It's like, Grandma was helping me with my shower the other day. I said, oh. She goes, yeah, and then Grandma was in the bathroom the other day watching me do something else. I'm like, oh. She says, does Grandma come to visit you? I said, no. Because she doesn't. I wish she did.
That would be nice. Do you communicate at all?
I know my grandma's watching me. I know she's watching over me.
The one that passed away.
The one that was killed by Jack? Yeah. Killed by Jack. Yeah, I'll say that because he called an ambulance on her without my permission from Florida, 2,000 miles away, after calling her a burden, after calling her all this crap, after being financially strapped by her and hoping she was dead, and then finally he kills her. And I'm supposed to sit here and be happy about Jack.
No, you're not supposed to be happy about Jack.
So yeah, I have issues too, William, and I want to talk about him. I'll talk about him on the show. I don't give a shit. I'll talk about everything on the show.
I understand that this
shit fucks me up.
Listen, this is your highway of being able to air your laundry.
It is.
I got it. I get it. Don't.
It helps me. It helps me.
It's a form of therapy.
It is therapy for me.
It's about growth.
It's like a psychiatrist. You guys are my psychiatrists. Believe it or not, you're all my psychiatrists.
It's about
Jim, Phil, Jason, William, Joanne. All you guys are my psychiatrists. So I'm here talking to you guys, dumping my shit out, and you guys tell me what an idiot I am. Like when you walked in here and told me you're exposing me. You're probably right. You probably are exposing me because I'm a fucking idiot.
No.
And you need to expose me because I'm stupid. I do dumb stuff.
What I meant by the word exposure.
Oh, I know you're fucking with me, but it's all right. I know.
Please.
You're not? Okay, tell me.
You and I, we play ping pong this way.
Tell me.
This is the way we play table tennis, you and I.
Yeah, I know.
I know too.
I know.
But I just want to, let you know that I know that you know that I know.
Yeah, but I'm not out to hurt you. I love you, man. So I'm trying to help you.
And the same.
Dude,
here.
I help everybody. You think I wouldn't help you? You're my friend. But
Listen,
come on, man.
No, I understand about the compassion that we all hold within.
Yeah, we all got that.
And we all.
Unfortunately, we have that. Unfortunately, we're not psychopaths. It'd be much easier if I was.
I don't know if it's unfortunate or it's a blessing if we understand the lesson.
Yeah, there's a lesson to be learned about all this that we're doing.
You know what I mean? And as we move on and move forward, and stub our toe, black our eye, put egg on our face. As we go through the elements of life to get to the other end. So if there are issues along the way, then we try to deal with them. Or at least I do anyway. Sometimes I'm very successful, and sometimes I'm not. If there are issues along the way, then we try to deal with them. Or at least I do anyway.
Sound check. I really thought that was you talking. I was doing a sound check. I'm sorry.
That was bullshit.
I have to do sound check. There's nobody here to help me with my stuff.
No. So let's run down that filing system that you got.
Dude.
No producer, no help, no assistants, no this, no that.
Why don't you produce us, William? You should produce us.
Well, you know what? That would be great if I had time.
When you get your computer back, by the way?
Oh my God. I believe one day next week, supposedly, the understatement and the status was suggested that I buy another gig of RAM for memory to jack up the memory to be able to maintain sufficiency of the operation.
What's up? I feel horrible. I'm a mess, as usual. Key. Oh my God. I get to see everyone. It's opening day. I get to see everybody today. I'm so happy.
Because we get a lot of it. We get this on opening day, and then then next week it should be much larger because of what?
420.
Oh, excuse me. By the way, I love the new speaker system.
It's a lot easier to carry.
And more portable. Yeah. And it can maintain the same impact and sound. No, yeah. You're the sound guy. You know.
You want to do a song before we end the show?
A song?
Yeah.
Impact and sound. No, yeah. You're the sound guy.
Hold on. A song before we end the show. Who do you want to sing about? Stephanie Katz or Al Crushya? Let's pick a villain. Pick an evil villain.
What? That?
Stephanie Katz, Al Crushya, or who's the other one we sung about?
Well, I think because of the fact that we're in New Jersey.
Christie?
And for therapy.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah, Al Crushya.
Al Crushya.
Al Crushya.
Well, you know the story about Crushya? Never mind. Have you ever heard about Al Crushya? Well, Al Crushya, a police officer in East New Brunswick, New Jersey. And he had an issue. He wanted to, wanted everyone to recognize his name.
Al Crushya.
So Al Crushya pulls this person over in a car. All of a sudden, he in his mind, he says he smells weed, right? Tells the driver to get out of the car. The driver gets out of the car. Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Al Crushya.
Al Crushya walks up to the man and helps him out of the car forcibly. Does a street sweep turn.
Curb stomp.
Which turns the person the other way. Grabs their arms and handcuffs them. And then sweeps under their feet with his foot. Boom! They hit the ground. Al Crushya comes over. He's looking around to see if it's okay. Why? Because all he wants to do is kick him in the chest. Right? So he kicks him in the chest. Right? God, now visualize. Person's laying on the ground on their side, handcuffed. knees are a little bent because they're trying to buckle in from the impact of the kick in the chest.
Kick in the chest.
And then Al Crushya says, "Stop resisting arrest." I don't understand how that one plays out, to be honest with you, but I'm sure it would hurt like hell. I'd be squirming even more if it were me. Just like a fish. And this son bitch talk about stop resisting arrest. Stop moving. Al Crushya. Ooh. And then the story comes full circle. And what I mean to say by full circle, the person in question with Al Crushya from East New Brunswick, New Jersey.
East Brunswick.
The person's name, Lefty Grimes. Years later, Lefty Grimes creates a podcast under the code name Ignorance is No Excuse, brought to you by Sativa Cross, owned and a legitimate company in the state of New Jersey for goods and services. We're talking Sativa Cross with who? Lefty Grimes, who what? Used to be on the ground with Al Crushya.
Swimming like a fish.
Swimming like a fish. Now that he does police stations and runs the network,
They're all scared of us.
Guess who he bumped into? Oh, and trust me, this was premeditated. This wasn't a coincidence.
Who?
Al Crushya and Lefty Grimes, because as he was doing his police station checkoff list, he ended up where? East New Brunswick, New Jersey. Ooh. And to do what? Huh? The Ignorance is No Excuse tour. With who? Lefty Grimes and Al Crushya.
Al Crushya.
Thank you, William. That was wonderful. That was really good.
Thank you.
What city?
Very educational. I enjoyed that.
It was.
I remember your video too, when you went and visited Al Crushya.
Al Crushya.
And he was sorry, wasn't he? Sorry.
He looked it.
He looked it.
All right, guys. Well,
I think he was more in utter amazement of how this thing came full circle and he had to deal with it again, but under different circumstances and conditions. Because why?
20 years later.
Guess what? The fish grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
he wasn't squirming much anymore.
Exactly.
You think I forget? I'm gonna forget something like that? 20 years later? No, I don't forget.
No, that's definitely.
No, it's the 21st century. You're gonna take him on YouTube.
We got yeah.
Yeah, got to do what you got to do.
Well, from the other side of it, it also confirms history repeats itself.
Oh yes, of course. It'll always come back, smack you in the face. Karma.
I want to thank our benefactors and sponsors, cmmnj.org. The whole reason we can smoke cannabis here in New Jersey is because of cmmnj.org and Jim Miller, Ken Walski, and all those guys. SativaCross.com, MagicalButter.com. Joanne, did you want to say something before we end? Come on back and just grab a mic. Grab the yellow mic if you want. I saw you were going to sit down, and I didn't even get to say hello to you. I was, hi.
Hi. How's it going?
I'll give you a hug when I get up. Sorry. What's going on?
Just want to work on lobbying for patients' rights to grow their own medicine because they can't afford it.
Cool.
And it's long overdue.
I'm ready. I'll help in any way I can because I definitely need that.
What does that mean? What does that entail? What do we have to do?
I don't know whether a legalization bill is coming out or not, I'm
Really
gonna
doesn't
assume
matter.
So, but
There is
yes,
gonna be
it
a
doesn't
decrim
matter.
coming out.
We have to work on that alone because we don't even know what's going to be in the bill. So,
'Cause how soon do you think this is going to be taking place?
Christie's out in the end of this year. So
Christie promised.
I guess. I don't know.
Who did he promise?
Oh no, Christie. He promised that he wouldn't wouldn't help patients.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I thought that's,
Let's get this right
That's
now.
the guy that we knew, right?
That's the Christie we know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
So this is something that you got a group together, or is it just you?
Well, no, all people that are here, patients.
Oh, you're talking about what's
women.
going on
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
We definitely need to do something. Ricardo's the one to actually. He gets so much done in the courts, legalizing and decriminalizing.
Yeah.
And I also think, if the insurance companies aren't going to pay for it, but yet they'll pay for these harmful, deadly medications, the pharmaceuticals, we can't afford our medicine. And here they were refusing to pay for our medicine, the insurance companies. They don't want to pay for marijuana. What are we supposed to do? We're really caught in the loophole where we're sick. We've proven we have the conditions that make us eligible to get this medication. And if they're not going to supply us proper amount of medication, because it's not just the type of medicine, it's the amount. Now, the dispensaries are running out. We have to deal with, I can only afford featured strains. I can only afford the 20% off ones, the lowest third tier. That's not fair. I call it the poverty strain.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I have to deal with, at the end of the month, getting just vape mix. No. That shouldn't be acceptable. That's like going to a pharmacy.
Poverty strain, Cindy, really? Poverty strain?
Well,
that's what you're going to call it?
Well, no. This month, I'll tell you what. Shout out to Compassionate Sciences Alternative Treatment Center, because they do have WAPA 26%
as a poverty strain.
As a poverty strain.
I'm going to use that. Poverty strain.
Yeah.
We have poverty strains here in New Jersey that you can buy.
The other poverty strain is the sunburn. And that's at 16%, but you can't really always go by the percentage, because that stuff is a very, very good sativa. Very good. And and their stuff is great, but I'll tell you what, I've heard they're GMOing it.
Wow.
I want organic.
Right.
I had put a question up about whether or not it is organic or not, and nobody trolled out my spot. I couldn't understand why. If I put out anything good, like pictures of the pretty stuff, it's like boom, 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 get all kinds of comments. I heard they are spraying terps on there or something, or flavonoids. I'd like to know more about this stuff, because, we are what we put into our bodies. So just like the food we eat, we should all have the right to know what we're putting in what's in our medicine.
Oh yeah, well, I guess it's some of it's supposed to be food grade, so
it's
yeah.
food grade, but then I don't think they say like anything is organic anymore, because everything is genetically modified. Everything, what they do, and they're really honest at that dispensary too, because they have several strains that are on the tier 1. Now, tier 1 is the most expensive, and I think it's like $120 a quarter. But the tier 1 has the plants on there that are from the original countries.
Wow.
If it is like Hindu Kush or whatever, it's from over there.
Yeah.
It's from, and they call them land, I think it's called land strains.
Yep.
You've heard of that before?
Yep.
So the land strains are always more. They're tier 1. They're the highest grade, because that's where you're going to get more organic, because anything else is a hybrid. So even when you say, is this a sativa? What is it? Oh, it's a 50-50. Well, it's a hybrid. So anything, they're just constantly cutting, cloning, whatever they got to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was going to say people are suffering because of that. So.
Well, the thing is they need a regular supply. I mean, how can you go to a pharmacy, right? Because it's like our new pharmacy, 21st century pharmacy.
You're on the air with Sativa Cross. Hello? Hello?
They beat you to the punch now, Lefty.
You're there.
They hung
Come on,
up
you're
on
on.
you fast.
They're not.
Oh, they got you. Good one. Whoever that was. That was
Sorry.
awesome. Yep. What comes around goes around, like we were saying.
Ricardo, thank you
Hi,
for
Ricardo.
getting cannabis legalized in
Oh,
Camden,
yes,
by the way.
get over
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah, we were.
Thank you for your
over here.
leadership. Come over here and tell us how
Get
cool you
over
are.
here.
Come here.
Take my seat. Come here. I got a present for you. This is yours.
You are the coolest kid in the,
You-
kid
you
in the
are.
room today.
You're the
You got
hero.
cannabis legalized in Camden.
You're our hero.
You are my hero. Ricardo Rivera, Tuffy's dad. More importantly, Tuffy's dad.
How you been?
Good to see you. I'm sorry I couldn't make it, dude.
Oh, no,
I wish
it's
I
okay.
was there, but you guys had it covered. You had it. Oh man.
I wanted you
What?
guys to light up there at the
I know.
police station.
Me
That would have been
too.
great.
Oh man.
Well, there's going to be a resolution announced.
What happened? Now tell us what happened. You went to Camden. You went to the council meeting, and you introduced a resolution to legalize or decriminalize cannabis.
Decrim, yeah.
Okay.
So we've been working on this now for a few months, and they kept shutting us down, especially with me actually helping opiate patients with cannabis oil, and they were like kind of shutting me down, and I'm like, look, like the science supports it all. Just hear what we got, and Chris is super savvy, super clever, super smart dude, and he was able to like show them the numbers and be like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you can save, this is what will give the power also to the police, because they don't want to arrest people constantly for cannabis. I mean, that's known. So I think it's up to like 60% now if the state supports full legalization, which is, I know I'm part of that, but moving forward, before we legalize, though, we have to be smart and not say, hey, we're going to arrest close to 50,000 people a year and then turn around and legalize it the next year because there's a bunch of rich guys that want to do it. You know what I mean? So like, let's do it smart. Let's make this about the people, not just certain people, and I think moving forward, it's just going to get better. But what's great about Camden County is that Camden City is that they're policed by Camden County. So this is why it's so perfect. It can actually just spread out from Camden to the rest of the county, and then from there, I'm hoping Patterson or somewhere up north would be next to do it, because
Patterson.
Yeah, once that, then it kind of all has a domino effect.
Yeah, I think from Patterson could really spread out too up there, because they can use Patterson as like an example, just like Camden. And
the Passaic County Police are right there, and they, that's like their headquarters. So
yeah. So it looks good. We had two resolutions on the table. So one was for decrim, and the other one was for a committee to actually do research on decrim. Well, not only they're going to do research on the decrim, but they also want to do on medicinal as well, which is great, because then they can really connect medicinal with decriminalizing at the same time, and then they can also connect legalization to medicinal as well. So it looks good. It looks good for Camden, and I'm really happy that we have a progressive city council that is now sort of siding with us on the issue. I mean, the one comment that was made that it's the new trend, and I don't look at it that way. I think of it more as people like my daughter, people like Lefty, like people that are sick, like why is it that they're still throwing patients in jail? That's what bothers me the most. I mean, there was recently an arrest down in Haddon Township. Someone was arrested there. I mean, you hear about cancer patients being arrested because they don't have a they don't have a card, and I just think that's ridiculous. If they have stage 4 cancer, why would you throw them in jail for consuming cannabis illegally? So let's just decriminalize it, give them a ticket, let them go about their business, and go fight some real crime.
In Summit, Anthony's being prosecuted for a joint. And he's a patient. A joint. He had to go to the court 3 times already. And the prosecutor doesn't know what to do.
What town's that?
Summit, New Jersey.
Okay, yeah.
The prosecutor's like, well, I got to look into this. Three court dates later, there's still no resolution. His family has to go to court with him. He lost 3 days of work. He's a patient. He's a sick person. He's being dragged through the court system. I imagine like your daughter being dragged through the court system, or Jim's wife.
Yeah,
really?
That's my
Really?
fear. Yeah, that's my fear. Like what if one day it isn't in that fancy packaging? So what? Like she's still a cannabis patient of New Jersey. Like you're gonna have the audacity to arrest us? Like that doesn't make any sense. So I think that decrim is the best answer before we decide to just jump into legalization because of a bunch of rich guys. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, not only that, improve the medical program, because
Definitely.
that's going to go
100%.
right to the wayside if they're just looking at money. So
I think it's important for us to stay involved, like throughout the whole legalization process. I came here, when was it, last year, and they were, talking about legalization. I had my daughter's picture and stuff because I wanted to look, the taxes that I pay for my daughter's medication needs to just end, okay? Especially if you're paying 25, 23% in sales tax for recreational cannabis. And we need to unify and also tell, our legislator, look, if we're going to move with legalization, medicinal has to definitely benefit. And one of them, the main one to me, which is only going to affect like 3 to 5% of the total population here in the state of New Jersey, is home grow. I need to be able to grow whatever strain I want for my daughter and not worry about, hey, so-and-so doesn't want this bill to pass because his daughter needs to grow cannabis in her house. Yeah, she does. I shouldn't have to go to a dispensary if they're growing it with no problem and I'm not allowed to grow it. Like, come on, are you guys monopolizing? Come on. So it's really important for us to stay on top of these guys here. I mean, they are on our side to a point, but it's all about money at the end of the day for them. Yep. So, they will use us as trophies and be like, hey, this patient does great with my oil. This patient does great with my flower, but they won't allow us to grow. Yeah. So we have to make sure that before they pass anything like that, full legalization, that us as patient caregivers, as patients and patients' parents, that our children and those patients are taken care of. Yeah. Number one, I don't care what legalization law passes. We have to stay on top of that.
Yeah, I know. It's like
everybody's like legalize, and it's like it doesn't work that way.
Like I've told Lefty, whatever legalization is a little too little, too late for me. So, but yeah, that's what I was just saying too, for lobbying for home cultivation for patients.
Absolutely, 100%. Not even just patients. Everyone, whoever wants to grow this should be allowed, because how are you going to say, okay, it's all right for a bunch of rich guys to grow, but not the people that live in that state where these people are making money? No, that's not going to work that way.
Yeah,
we have to make sure we stay on top of that. We have to have those positions lined up. We have to have those numbers too. That it's all about numbers. So like that 3 to 5% that will be growing, let them know about that. This is how much revenue you might miss on. Just 3 to 5%. That's it.
Well, even like caregiver growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that money could go to a lot of stuff. Schools, roads. I mean, the revenue we can get from that is just ridiculous.
Well, and a fund for patients that can't.
There
can't
you go.
afford it.
There you go. Yeah, help. Give 10% of your, like I always say, give a tithing to someone. Yeah. The government should give 10% to the poor people. There you go.
Well, before you give money away, I want to make sure all the potholes are filled up on my street.
Yeah, I want that too.
Before
I do want that.
Start giving this money away like it's candy.
Yeah, like in Colorado, they're giving money back to the taxpayers, the homeowners.
They are.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was just talking to Jenny. She mentioned that. I think it's a little bit of a process, though. It takes a while.
Yeah.
You know how they are with money.
Of course.
You don't want to let it go, but.
Jenny, you might be coming here next month.
Yeah.
Secretly, in a secret location, because Jack's a criminal when he comes here. How do you feel about that? Jack's a criminal when he comes here. What does that make sense to you?
We're all criminals, I guess, in the eyes of this
I know.
of this state. Because I mean, come on, it's. Shout out to my dog Jax. Miss that boy.
Oh, you lost your dog?
No.
What?
Jax.
His dog is homie.
It's all right. No more edibles.
No
more concentrates.
Like you lost your dog. I'm sorry.
No more concentrates.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my dog Jax. That's my homie right there, man. He's a good kid.
I'm gonna read.
He's awesome.
I love Jax. He's coming, and
Shout out to Six, Punky, and Harley.
we're gonna do a death metal remix with Jax. He was on our show last time, and he was screaming like, "Rawr!" And I was like, "Oh, I gotta record that and put it into remix, death metal remix." Jax, he's awesome. He's got a G tube. Jenny feeds him cannabis through a G tube. Does Tuffy have a G tube also? No.
Fortunately, not. I mean, it can happen, but
yeah,
for now.
But she's okay though with that.
She's doing excellent.
She's doing
great.
amazing.
She's doing great, and that's one of the things. Like a lot of people have talked about, how like the program was designed to fail. I mean, we made the most out of it. My daughter's doing very well with the program here in New Jersey, but there's still a lot of improvements to be made. You know? I shouldn't have to pay 7% sales tax. Simple as that. But go ahead. I'm
You
sorry.
spared her a lot of what they wanted to make her do with cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, surgeries, everything.
They offered her brain surgery?
It was on the table, yeah.
Before cannabis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
No.
Let's cut your brain open before we give you weed.
Yeah, for us, it doesn't make any sense. But, for those in power, they're going to make a lot more money off of her because, once you cut into their brain, there's so many other side effects that comes along with that. You get a whole list of things that happen.
Whole list of doctors that you have to see then.
And medications.
Doctors and medications, yeah. So, they actually benefit a lot more cutting you open than keeping you alive with, cannabis. So,
amazing.
But you guys start back up, huh? This is the first Thursday. I had to make sure I made it out here.
I'm glad you made it, man.
See everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys really helped us on so many levels. So everything we can do to come back.
Well, you are paying it back. Just what you did in Camden was just amazing.
Well, it's a lot of work left to be done. I mean, we have it. I mean, it's looking good. We have a city council that understands what we're saying, and we also have a city council that wants to save a lot of money. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
And I think all city councils here in the state of New Jersey are that way. They preach, compassion and whatever else, but what it comes down to is numbers. And if you could bring those numbers to the table, you will find success every single time, honestly.
So is there a template that we can use in Patterson that you used and like charts and stuff?
Sure.
Just basic.
Sure.
Let's do this.
So what I was saying was, it's important to get those arrest numbers. So you want to go to your PR person. Their spokesman that talks to the police.
That's what you did.
To the reporters. Yeah, that's what
I tried
Chris
to go to
did.
the records, but they gave me the runaround.
Yeah, you gotta get the right person. Once you get that right person, and you keep pressuring them, like, look, just to give me the numbers. If you don't give me the numbers, then I'm gonna call the press, and then that's when they'll start to really engage. That's what I've been calling it. It's hard to get them to engage. They want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
One of the things that has scared like Camden police, Camden County police, is us taking away their job. And look, this isn't us taking away your job. The best way to describe it is the way Chris said, and that was to give them another tool in their tool belt. And you can either let them go, with the ticket, you can arrest them, or you could. What was the other option? It's one of three options. It's just throw it away. So now throwing it away is becoming near impossible because a lot of them have the body cam. So once they respond to a call, they have that body cam that's being watched. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's being recorded. So they know, what you're doing when you're engaging with someone. The second you turn that thing on, it's not like you can go back and delete it like our phones. It doesn't work that way. So they can't just throw it away. And I've talked to Camden police about this, and they do want to do that. They just want to trash it and be done with it. But this right here, just writing them out a ticket, but they don't lose any of their rights as officers. They still have not rights. Those I guess their rights or whatever they're called. Their protocol. They don't lose anything protocol wise. Like they can still search your car. They can search you. It's just like any other. Like if you were to get pulled over. If they had a right, a legitimate reason to get you out of the car, then they have a legitimate reason to search the car. So, they find cannabis. Okay, that's it. That's all they found. Boom, you just get your ticket. There have been many cases where they found cannabis, and they also found a gun. So, they won't lose that. They won't get. They're not going to lose their jobs basically, and that's something that's important to reassure the police when you start to engage with them.
Yeah, a lot of them think that it's going to be like chaos if you legalize it or something.
The problem is education. Just look at what's happened in Colorado and Cali and Washington, Oregon. All these states, Alaska. Like all these states. There's nothing crazy going on. And if anything, it's a lot calmer now. You know?
Yeah, peaceful.
Yeah.
It's a different world out there, I hear.
It is.
I talked to Honeyb from Oregon. She says they don't arrest patients out in Oregon. They don't have that. We're arresting patients left and right in New Jersey. In Oregon, they're just like, hey, whatever, go smoke your weed. Leave us alone.
Yeah, it's a
They
whole
got
other
better
world.
crime. They got bigger crime to fight.
But we have a lot of low-hanging fruit here in New Jersey. And Anthony was arrested for driving while black in Haddon Heights. That's why he was pulled over. They said he had a broken taillight. It was fine. The taillight was fine. They yanked him out of the car, a patient, chained him to a wall for 5 hours. As a patient, with a card. And he just today got his case dismissed.
Oh, okay, good. Congratulations to him.
So now
it's
we're going
a shame, though, that he had to go through all that, but he does definitely have some sort of a lawsuit, I think.
Yep.
Well, he has to go back and get his cannabis now, an ounce of cannabis, $1,100 they took from him. He has to go around to different places. His cannabis is in one place. His money is in somewhere else. So he has to run around, take time off out of his life to go get his shit back now. Really?
It's
He's a sick
ridiculous.
person.
It's a shame.
What?
Yeah, he needs to sue them.
And
Oh,
yeah,
shit
not
out
only
of
that, when he did get pulled over, the officer was very like, I don't know.
Racist?
Yeah, well, not only that, he was like, well, this isn't medicine,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was
making,
edibles.
Yeah, he was making a joke about it. Yeah, big
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
It's a big joke.
And then withhold your medication while you're being handcuffed.
He had no medication for 5 hours as he's chained to a wall like a 17th century N. I won't say it again.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm glad to hear you're helping people and educating people alternative to opioids with cannabis because, we got a big thing going on in the state now with that.
Definitely. Did you guys know that New Jersey has 3 times the overdose rate in the country? 3 times the average. That's sad. My sister was one of them. She passed back in 2015, and she was taking cannabis oil, and it was helping with her withdrawal. She just needed a lot more treatment, basically. But it did help her with her withdrawal. And I had came here, not here. It was over in what building is that where they had the hearing to
the War Memorial.
Yeah, War Memorial.
War Memorial. And I got to speak up about that, and then like before and after, weeks and months before and after, I've gone to like Tent City in Camden. I met a 14 and 15 or 16-year-old pair of brothers. They're young guys. They're from the town over, and they were living in Tent City, and they're both on heroin. They ran away from like their group home or whatever, and like a year ago, and they were already using since they were a little younger, but they also have been taking cannabis oil to help them with their withdrawal. I haven't seen them as of recently. They're not in Tent City because I've been there a few times and they haven't been there, but I hope they're doing better. But there's a lot of other stories out there. You hear people, doing heroin and not being able to get access to it, and they're using, what's that? Oh, and they're using cannabis oil for their withdrawal. So,
yeah,
and it's working. It's helping them. It's keeping them alive. I mean, we already know what, it ends up most of the time, but it's keeping them alive. So.
Well, I was going to say, New Jersey has the largest port. New York, New Jersey is the largest port on the East Coast. So that's one thing. And we're the 3rd or 4th for pharmaceutical companies in the country. So,
wow.
I mean, that's
Lots
kind
of drugs.
explains a lot of why there's so much overdose in New Jersey.
My friend killed himself in December, and 2 weeks before he killed himself on heroin, he called me looking for a cannabis card. and there was no way he could afford a cannabis card.
That's one of the things we're talking about too. Yeah.
It was easier for him to go down the corner, get his dime bag of heroin, and do that, and then to go through the whole process of getting it.
And that's another reason we pointed out about decrim. There's patients out there that are on heroin, and then they can't, get access to the program. So they're self-medicating, and we're arresting them. So
that's helpful
for a disease, and they have a disease that's it shouldn't be okay to throw them in jail.
Right. Well, you were talking about opioids at the hearing. My thing is a lot of patients, since they can't afford it, they're self-medicating with alcohol, which is, a lot more dangerous than cannabis.
Or any other pharmaceutical they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
It's become a very desperate situation just because people can't get access to a organic plant that doesn't cause any kind of critical damage to anybody whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense.
It's also like a health food.
I actually have a friend who had lost a son to heroin, and surprisingly, her second son got addicted to heroin. And she's like tough love, and it's like tough love doesn't work.
No.
You can't use tough love because your other son's already dead because of using tough love. There really has to be, like they say, it takes a whole community, to help raise a child, and the community really needs to get together and realize, this is a war against a plant. This is a war against nature. It's a war against people. It's a war against the sick, the disabled, the children.
War against ourselves, because we have endocannabinoids in our body, so it's a war against ourselves.
Oh, it is. It is. It is fighting our immune system so bad because we really need this for our immune systems. And our health, everything is being compromised because of money. It's all about the money. They don't have to cut down all those trees. We're running out of trees. The rainforests, look at all the animals going extinct just because of them not wanting to legalize a plant. They should all be ashamed of themselves. Think about putting a law against a plant that God or whoever you believe in, it's nature, and it was placed here for us to use. And for the government to just step in and say, no, you can't use it, and if you do, we're going to arrest you for it. Like, they didn't make it. They didn't discover it. They didn't create it. Who are they to say that we can't use it?
Yeah, when you bring that up, we're talking about Linden and like an MS cluster there, and it potentially being from the Exxon company there, and Christie let them off the hook. It's okay to poison people, but it's not okay to grow a plant.
Well, that's why those little things like that has gotten him to this point. He's at 70% disapproval rating, the worst, the lowest approval rating in the country for governors. So that's, Christie, if you're listening, that right there tells you've been on the wrong side for a long time.
Well, he just needs to really do the research and realize that it's hurting the people not to have marijuana legal. He obviously is, conditioned, like my parents were conditioned, to believe that it's a harmful plant that causes psychiatric problems or something, and it's not true. If they could only educate themselves on the marijuana, everything that they've proven scientifically, all the proof, all the studies. I don't understand. It's out there. The proof is out there for anybody. Why can't they look it up?
Ricardo's got to go. Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you for your leadership.
Yes,
I always say that to you because you are a true leader. You're amazing. Thank you. Again.
Thanks for having me.
Dude.
I'll come by, as much as I can to come check you guys out here on Thursdays.
Well, we'll just call you.
Started,
we'll just call you.
And also,
call me. You got my number.
Anything you need with your mission. I'm here. I'm sure we're all here. Anything you need.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to post, so as we continue to work, in the background or whatever, I'll keep everybody in the loop and, let everybody know when the resolution will be finally announced.
Nice.
But we're moving forward, so.
We want your template. We want to know what to do in Patterson when
Absolutely.
we go to Patterson.
Absolutely. No problem. No problem at all.
Thank you, brother.
And then we could get all New Jersey done because that's the way it needs to be.
Well, everybody have a good one. Thank you so much.
You too.
Take care.
Thanks, Ricardo. It was great to see you.
Ricardo Rivera, ladies and gentlemen. Tuffy's dad, more importantly.
Look up Tuffy's fight.
Toughies fight. So, cmmnj.org is our reason why we can smoke cannabis here.
Yes.
Matt?
We are allowed to smoke cannabis here. A lot of people don't realize that. They think that we're doing it wrong. No, we're doing it right. I actually had to unfriend a ex-sister-in-law because she said, "You're doing everything wrong." It's like, well, you're not out here doing anything. Who are you to judge?
That's right.
And she didn't even realize that what I was doing was completely illegal because I have a license. And we got to do this to bring awareness to people. They have to wake up and realize we are not breaking the law, people. We are patients, and we choose to use a natural, legal substance rather than pharmaceutical
You're
drugs
right,
that are
there's-
hurting us. So please stop judging.
There's still a lot of reefer madness with just people in the community,
Oh,
and
yeah, no doubt. My mom is one of them. She'd
yeah.
rather not, have anything to do with me because of my beliefs. So,
and then there's
you gotta,
and then there's actual blatant discrimination of cannabis.
Well,
and
that's
people
constant. It's like what I said when I first came. I have this new tattoo. Went out the first day. First person, an older woman, seen me, and she goes, "That's disgusting." It's like, oh, but if it was the devil or something on my arm, that would probably be cool. That it's like what a stigma that they put on this poor plant. It's so beautiful. It's organic. How could you say nature is illegal and
well,
wrong?
like Lefty was saying, people don't know they have an endocannabinoid system
We
in their body.
are part of that plant. That plant is part of us, and people are denying themselves. They're denying their families of medical treatment. They're the pain and suffering that it relieves. Why should anybody take that away from me or you or anybody else in this world? This doesn't make any sense at all. Where they think that they're so high above us.
Sounds pretty un-American to me.
Oh, it's more than un-American.
Yeah.
You talk about.
Well, if you want to.
Yeah, you talk about the prejudice that people have on people. There is so much prejudice against the marijuana plant. I mean, people are scared of it, and it's crazy because it's never hurt anybody. Maybe one person that the bale fell on top of. I heard there was one person in the whole trillion years this has been around.
I think there's proper use, and sometimes there's abuse.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the situation is now, without the proper education,
there needs to be education. There should be education in all the schools. It's just not right because now there's an epidemic. Kids are dying from opiums. They're dying from their drugs that the doctors are giving them. They're dying from this meth and the Adderall. It's dangerous, and they're giving them to kids like they're candy. They're forcing them to be on it in order to even go to class.
Yeah, not only that, when you start taking one, then you need
Oh,
another,
God.
and then another
Hey,
to combat the other.
13 medications I got off of. Now I've been fighting to get off the benzos, which is the Ativan that I've been on for 20 years, 3 milligrams. I mean, it was 3 times a day, 2 milligrams, 3 times a day. I had to cut myself down to 1 milligram a day. I'm going through withdrawals. I'm having seizures. I'm, going through panic attacks, and it's just not fair. The doctors don't want to prescribe me any pharmaceuticals because I'm a marijuana patient. My new doctor that I just got had the nerve to say to me, "I'm sorry, I can't treat you with any medication because I don't know what side effects it'll have with your marijuana. So I'm going to have to find another doctor because I keep running into the same brick wall, and it's not fair. Why should
there's
I be
a list
turned
online.
down?
There's I think it came from the medical community.
I have a
in California.
marijuana doctor, but they're not allowed to
Yeah.
prescribe for health conditions. And
Yeah.
then I have a so-called primary that won't prescribe medicine. He's afraid to prescribe me anything.
Well,
Now, next time I'm not even going to tell him I have a license because it's made me... First of all, I shouldn't feel ashamed, and I don't. That's why I'm out here, and that's why I do what I do and put it out in the open. When people criticize me about my tattoo now, that gives it a door to open up so I can educate them.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know it's right.
Yeah.
And the other people, well, it's their loss because they're going to see that family members are going to die because of, their ignorance. And, they can't accept that. And... they better straighten up before they lose everybody else, because it's just not right.
I was going to say, I think it was a couple years ago, there was a list that came out. It was from out of California. I don't know if it was a medical association or not, but it showed the drug interactions with cannabis. So I don't know if I find it, I'll send it to you so you can show your doctor.
Definitely. And it's so strange because, like, elderly people, like my mom, she outright told me that smoking marijuana is just like doing heroin. That it leads to heroin. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It gets people off of heroin and opiums. Oh, she's okay. If the doctor gives her any kind of medicine, she'll take it.
Right.
But this natural plant, forget it. She won't, no matter what, she will not bend. She'd rather not talk to me.
It is an indoctrination.
It's horrible, horrible. Because like I said, it's bad enough I lost my dad, to cancer, and he could have been saved. But I lost my mother too because of the ignorance that's been instilled inside of her by the government. What they were saying was a lie. Don't people see that they were lied to? Look at the food table. Yeah. All of a sudden, they're just going to flip it upside down and say, oh, sorry. You didn't notice that everybody was dying because the food table was flipped upside down. So they decided, oh, that's wrong, and somebody brought it to their attention. How can they get away with this stuff, selling us, our kids, poison in McDonald's for how many years? Now, all of a sudden, they're putting real chicken in their food. What the hell were they putting in their food before? This is a problem.
With real chicken.
Yeah, I heard it was green, pink slime. Yeah, everybody knows this now. Go get your chicken McNuggets. They got real chicken. I don't believe it. Anyway,
No.
And if you notice, there's organic restaurants and organic stores, and everybody's going organic, and Aldi's going organic, and they're a discount store. Walmart's got a lot of organics in there. A lot of people are waking up to the truth that we are what we eat, we're what we put inside our bodies. We want to know what kind of chemicals and drugs they're putting in our food and our pot. Because if they're adding terpenes and flavonoids and stuff like that to make it better, well, where is this created, and how are you spraying it, and is it GMO, and is there any other additives? Because I'll tell you what, I love the dispensary. I only go to your dispensary, so if you're watching, I love you. But I've been having allergic reactions to the dispensary marijuana. I really have. And Bob even will say, you're allergic to that one, aren't you? My nose immediately stuffs up. I start sneezing, coughing like crazy. I'm sneezing.
I've noticed a different reaction to different.
It's the truth. And different ones.
Strains, yeah.
And, some.
Fix your mics.
Some are very good strains. The reactions that I have, they might last like 5 minutes, but then I have a really nice high. But I'm still all stuffed up, and I mentioned it to them. I said, I'm having this allergic reaction, and they said, oh, that's good, it's cleaning you out. I said, no, it doesn't feel good, and I'm not used to it. I'm used to having a nice mellow high without allergic reaction. So what is on the weed, or what are they growing it in? I think we should have a list of ingredients. Seriously, there's ingredients on our food. Why can't we have ingredients on the back of our bag?
Well, aren't they testing there? That's like the one they do have.
Well, they have testing to tell you how much a percentage. Hey, Bob, give me your bag. You got a bag?
Oh, I thought it was like purity.
No, they have they have the percentage. I'll show you right here. Look. So they have good features on sale this week, matter of fact. WAPA, 26%. This is Agent Orange, and the percentage of THC is 21%, 0.19, which is really pretty good. The CBGAs are fantastic. It's 1.08, which is very high for CBGs. CBGs are very important too. CBDs, there's 0.42. But the thing is me and my husband both had questions about this. All right, did they test the first plant that came out, and then they never tested it again? Because we're finding differences in the way it is. The first time I had the sunburn, I loved it, and it was giving me an uplifting, energetic high. It just seems to be different every single time I get it. And I had lost a quarter from the dispensary, and I found it a year later.
Wow.
I still have it. I did not open it. I didn't open it because it's Gorilla Glue 4. They happen to have that on feature. It was last week. When I bought the Gorilla Glue 4 from last week, it looked like the difference between mids and top shelf. Last year, in August 2000, it was actually August 2015 so it's almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
A year and a half later, I find my bag. And the way it looked then, there was no white crystals. It wasn't like exotic looking like it looks so exotic now, you know. It looks almost hydroponic, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, with the crystals and everything. It's just beautiful, beautiful. But then it, you know, you can clearly see in the bag. And like I said, I'm not going to open it because it's like one of those hamburgers from McDonald's. I want to see what happens.
Well, I think they have purity testing there. Maybe you can ask him for a copy or something.
Yeah, well, the
know.
thing is, I mean, they might be cutting themselves short too, because if their plants are better, it might be higher THC and everything if they're not testing every strain, like every group.
Yeah.
You know, because they do change.
Right. Yep.
Don't you agree, Lefty, that every plant is different?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just like people.
Yep.
Speaking of cutting it short, we need to cut the show short.
Maybe not just like people.
Actually, I think you're cutting it long.
We're actually way over.
Yeah, like an hour.
Cindy, have you ever burnt anything off with a torch?
Did I burn anything off a torch?
You ever burn your body with a torch? Like Joey Lyons burnt his crotch with a torch the other day. I saw it online. I'm like, he burnt his crotch. You see that?
Well,
oh my God.
You know what? Bob didn't know how to light the torch yesterday, and I went over and pushed a button. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that.
You don't have to do that. You don't need to do that anymore, Cindy, because there's a better way to medicate.
How is that? We can eat it. We can eat it. We can make chocolates. We can infuse it into candies. We can use the magic butter.
Makes your recipes better. Magical butter makes your recipes better. Brownies, cookies, smoothies, sauces, soups, veggies, candies, salad dressings for your tossed salad, Cindy.
Yes, tossed salad. Love salt salad. We all do.
I love salad dressing.
Yes. And we can make our stuff organic with the magic butter machine.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yes.
Organic edibles.
Oh, yes.
Edibles.
And also oils. You can make oils.
The best oils
The
ever.
best oils ever. The best oils in the world. And a matter of fact, are you still having a contest for the magic butter machine?
Yes. Comes with the love glove from Garen Angel.
Are you really going to do it on 420?
Yes.
With the glove, a love glove.
A love glove.
I gotta see the love glove.
Yes, we'll be doing a magical butter demonstration here at the Trenton State House, making butter
On
next week.
April 20th.
Next week.
Everybody come on out. April 20th. We'll be here till 4:30 or 4:20. I mean.
At least 4:21. We're out of here.
4:21. We're out of here. Yes. All right, everybody.
Hold on. Flute solo. Okay, we don't talk over the flute solo like I just did.
No, that's beautiful. We need to meditate. This is our time of silence, our moment of silence. All right, Lefty, lead us in our moment of silence.
Okay. It is 1-800-424-3334. I think I got that, right?
Sounds good to me, but let's make sure.
MagicalButter.com. Get your Magical Butter machine from MagicalButter.com. Tell them Sativa Cross sent you, and they'll give you a 10% tax.
Oh, discount.
Oh, discount. No,
Yes, 7% tax
I'm
if
thinking
you live
New
in
Jersey.
New Jersey.
New Jersey
But-
marijuana.
But if you live in a poverty zone, it's 3%.
You all got me saying marijuana today. You all said marijuana about 20 times today. Now I'm saying it.
didn't. Marijuana,
Cannabis.
marijuana.
Cannabis.
Marijuana.
MagicalButter.com. Okay.
Yes.
Get that out of the way. CMMJ. Coalition for Medical Cannabis. Coalition for Medical Marijuana. Damn, I said it again. NewJerseyWeedman.com. Send Weedman some money. Please. Send him $10. I sent him some
Free
money.
NJ Weedman.
Yeah, free him. He's sitting in chains right now while you're out here smoking weed. Come on, man. For real. He's got cancer. Give him a break. DavidVersusAutism.org. Blue Planet Biotech. Run New Jersey. Medical-freedom.com. Cannasense, New Jersey Grannies for Grass. Toughies Fight. Ricardo.
Yes, Ricardo Rivera.
Thank you, Ricardo,
New
for your
Jersey's
leadership.
hero.
I love that guy.
Hero to everybody. He's
He's
unbelievable.
leader of
I'll tell
Toughies Fight.
you. Best dad in the world.
legalized for Lorelei. JacksonStorms.com. He'll be at a secret location next month in New Jersey,
Jeannie.
hiding from cops.
Yes.
Prayers for Sarah. Prayers for Pete, Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey, and Jenna's Journey. End the war on cannabis and free political prisoner New Jersey Weedman number 420. Yep. Yep.
Prisoner of nature.
Yeah, prisoner of nature. How about that?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, here's our list. Oh, here comes the list. Oh, boy. Oh, hey.
Oh, boy, and that list
well,
is
happy times.
building up all
Such
the
a
time, isn't it?
buzzkill.
Yes, it is. All right, time of silence.
May I just say at the beginning, though, that buzzkill as it is, it does reinforce why I can't really let this go.
Never.
You know, because these are people that you can't apologize to. Nobody can. So we acknowledge those who have passed on, who fought the good fight, who took part, who were patients, and who were wronged. And for them, we show up. So doodle list.
How many times do we have to do this list this year, Jim?
Till it's done.
Yeah.
And then we get other people to do the list when we're too tired. He ain't heavy, he's my brother.
Well, our first name is Cheryl Miller, your late wife. One of the reasons why I'm doing activism today is because of your wife, and what you did for her was amazing. Just amazing. Pushing her around like that.
Bringing her to Washington.
Miles of mileage on that bed. Miles.
Oh, lots. Across the state, multiple times.
Kidding me?
Yeah.
Tell you, best husband in the world. Great man, Jim.
Well, I hide my faults well.
Yeah, but
I don't.
She was lucky to have you. And you're carrying on her mission.
Yo, Phil Charles.
Phil,
Yeah.
man.
What's up?
All right, so we got that. All right, Phil, what's up, bro? Flip.
Flip Marley in the house.
Flip.
So we got the list that we remember.
Yes.
So Cheryl Miller, thank you. Sabina Rose was a 15-month-old baby who had no chance. The deck was stacked against her. Her parents had to jump through all these hoops to get her cannabis, and she just ran out of time.
You ran out of time on December 2nd, 2012. And why would I remember that?
I have her bumper
I'm
sticker
sorry,
hanging
but,
on my
you know,
wall.
Wanted to put it in perspective.
She waited a quarter of her life for her medicine. A quarter of her life.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's
No.
crazy.
That's sad.
And her parents were afraid to break any laws because they wanted to do it right.
What do you do? I mean,
What
in
do
that
you
position,
do?
you're just
It's horrible. And now
You
what-
break a law, you lose your child
you lose
earlier
your
than you lose
child's
your
life.
child.
Yes, I mean, people got to realize that the law doesn't mean it's right or wrong. We've really got to do research, and we've got to realize that, you know, it's really all about the money. That's all they care about. They don't care about us, obviously.
Who else? Don't let the list stall. I can't take the
Yes.
misery.
There was a few new ones.
I'm not blowing through this list.
I know. No, this is the first day out, man. You know,
Yeah.
break it down. But break it down. Keep it going.
Well, Diane, let's talk about Diane now.
Yes.
She was at the State House here.
Yeah.
She stood at that podium.
Yeah.
Was very excited for the prospect of having legal cannabis in New Jersey. But she never saw that, did she?
No.
No, she didn't. Diane Ripatello.
What about, what was it, Jenny's dad? Sarah's dad.
Who?
The girl's father that
Roger.
passed.
No.
Yeah.
Well, whoever it is, we'll get to him.
You remember,
They're on the
was
list.
it Jenny's father? There was
I have
somebody that
Cindy, this list here is so freaking long at this
Oh,
point
I
because we
know.
lose we lose 1 out of 10 patients
Oh,
a
yeah.
freaking year.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna
this
get to
list
his
is going to
name.
be longer this year.
Yeah.
And
He was the one that was helping his daughter get it in school.
Didn't-
Remember?
Didn't
Yeah.
you just add one?
That
Is
was-
there a
that-
new
that
one
was-
just recently?
We just added one last week.
And the father who was trying to get it for his
We'll get
daughter.
to it.
Okay, we'll get to
to
it.
it.
You have him.
I have so many names here. I don't even know where to start sometimes. I'm like,
We'll start.
it's like
You just had another child. Congratulations.
I just had another child.
Isn't that what you just said? You just had another one last week.
Trial.
Did I say I had
Trial.
another one?
Not child.
You had another child just last week. Congratulations.
I think
It really hurt. It really.
I think he said trial, not child.
What?
You had something.
All right, come on.
Both difficult.
It really hurt.
Come on, gear me down.
Wayne gave birth to him
All
once.
right,
I
we
seen it.
digress. So now, stop. This is
Yes, it is
solemn moment here.
silence time.
No laughing during this.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Gotta go.
We try not to.
Yes.
No,
Because it's
well-
like, how do you laugh at all this?
No, we're not laughing
Don't.
at
Give
this.
us reason
we're just
not to.
having a reason to be able to
Gracie,
go
a little
through it.
baby, Gracie. She's dead.
Little Gracie.
Little Gracie, little kid, little girl, dead.
How old?
How's the mom?
5, 6.
How's the parents?
They're a mess.
Yeah.
Suffering.
Oh my God.
Cindy May, little baby from Pennsylvania, dead.
How
Dead.
old? How old?
Baby. 5 years old, maybe.
Oh,
my
no.
gosh. That's horrible.
Dead. No
Horrible.
cannabis for you.
Pennsylvania,
Suffer.
Pennsylvania, right?
Suffer.
That's where you're not allowed to have it medically. They're just changing that law. Too late for them. Sorry.
Marie from cancer.
Mm.
Little Jack, another kid from Colorado, Jack.
A lot of kids.
And why?
A little kid, man.
Jeez.
Come on, we could do better than having kids die.
Oh,
really?
yeah. It's just a war on,
Well, that's why we're here.
on
so-
life.
Joan Ford.
Yep. William's mom.
William's mom.
Randy Robertson from Pennsylvania had the Whipple procedure done to him.
Hmm.
It's when they cut out all your organs and they
Oh
call
my
it something real fancy and
God.
spend a lot of money. You
They
know?
rearrange him. Then
And then he-
they cut him out. They rearrange him.
And he
Say,
died?
Oh, that wasn't it.
Nope,
That
not it.
wasn't
Sorry. No,
Sorry, made a mistake.
You can have your joint now.
Yeah. Should have took the
Okay.
oil. Sorry.
Chad didn't make it. He had brain cancer. He should have gotten oil years before
Oh
he was
God, yes. They,
able
they
to.
they called us when he had 2 weeks left to live.
Remember that?
Oh yes, and we kept him alive. What? 5 months. I
Yeah.
remember when his
Oh,
mother
that's
called.
great.
Well, I happened to call him 2 hours before he passed, and it was the most amazing thing.
Chad's father killed himself when he
Yes,
was diagnosed.
he shot himself in the head when he found out that his son had
leaving
brain
poor
cancer.
Iris to deal with this all
Yes.
by herself.
Yes. A miracle had happened, though. I have a picture on my phone. I had happened to contact, I wanted to see Chad, and Iris told me he was in bed, that he was dying. And I asked her to send
Hold
me
on.
a
Yeah,
picture.
we run out of permit 1 minute. Way too much digression going on.
Jeremy-
It's 3 o'clock. Permit ends at 3.
Jeremy is, yeah, we're going to get kicked out of here.
Yeah.
Jeremy is a victim of the drug war. He was growing cannabis in his house, got arrested, was thrown in jail, thrown on probation for 4 years. He was 6 months away from smoking a joint when he had a horrible accident and he died. Colette is Jeff's mom. She died from MS. Matt is one of Jessi's patients, died. Troy died from pancreatic cancer. Russ Perry was my friend who died. Jay Oletta was my friend who died. Roger Barber was all of our friends who... We have a promise that we made to Roger, and we're going to fulfill it this year by getting that bill passed. Jenny's bill will be passed this year. And talking about drop seizures, your son, Michael Dillon, died from a drop seizure.
Yeah.
And it's horrible when you see people like Sarah Weber suffering and going through what she goes through and knowing that your son was 26 when he died.
He was.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
2 years on March 5th.
Wow.
It's difficult.
That's, my baby's 26.
So,
Wow.
thank you all for coming on week 1. We'll see you next week. We'll see you on Monday night. Did you want to say something?
No, you say it. You end the show, please.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will